righty. I am excited about tonight. Nikki, you ready for tonight?
Sure thing. Let's roll out.
I am
Got,
excited.
got all my stuff written down, rewrote all my notes so I can read the handwriting I have.
And you were saying that you watched all of them but one twice. So
Or more.
I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but we're going to find out tonight if she liked the list more than Ashley did last week.
I think I'll tell you. Yeah, I might have liked your list a little better than Ashley liked what you gave her, but I think you and I have more similar tastes than you and her. So
Yeah, I do. And I felt like you giving me that list, I figured out what your taste was. Ashley, I'm still kind of getting to figure out a little bit of. And so there's some people like that out there where and some people you just never figure it out. They're like, well, damn, you like this, but I can't figure it out. And that's okay. Ashley knows my taste pretty well. She seems pretty confident in her next list as well. So I appreciate that though when people are like, oh, I know you'll like this. I'm like, okay, cool. You know me well. So works out that way.
Well, I live with a ton of cancer men in my household life. My dad, my brothers, two of them, and my kid, my grandkid. It's like you have very similar, maybe not similar tastes in the movies because each one of you have your own tastes of movies, and all you really have to do is pay attention. I mean, like my husband is action junkie, so there's a whole lot of repeat watches of things like The Terminator and, I mean, Heat because he loves the gun scene, Predator also because he loves the gun scene. I've had to see those movies hundreds of times, it's fine. Those are good movies, but it's not what I would sit down and watch if I'm watching alone.
Okay. All right.
So,
and I'm trying to think if I did any of that. I don't think so. Not tonight, except for one maybe, which is just an action movie. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, there's two that are kind of action in some spots, but they were good stories.
Yeah, there's definitely one that's like full on just action. That's all. And then I'm looking at the other ones here because I got to go to your list. I got to have it ready for my ranking at the end, anyways. Okay. Oh yeah. I would say there's two, maybe even three, almost, or four. You could say. I mean, mostly a little drama in there, but yeah. Okay, so I've got the posters ready to rock and roll tonight. Poor Ashley, she got the mercy of me coming up after groceries, not being.
Don't forget your banners tonight of your now discussing.
I got the now discussing tabs all ready to go, each and every one of them, all 10 movies, and then you already have a list of 10 ready to rock and roll for me, and when we get done, so I'm looking forward to it. But I'm gonna catch up with the chat, and we're gonna go ahead and get started, and then we can rock and roll. So we have got none other than your son, Jeff. Good evening, my friends. What's up, Jeff? Joe is in the chat. Joe is watching from the hospital right now. He is.
Oh no, Joe.
He
feel better, sir.
He stuck his toe in something he shouldn't have. And no, I'm just joking. But he did have an issue with his toe. He got a piece of metal stuck in his toe, and he had a bad infection. He almost lost his toe, and now he's out of work for 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow,
it's really bad, and he's still in the hospital for it. So he's
take all your antibiotics.
Yeah, absolutely. That works. That does the trick here. We got howdy, y'all. Is he mocking me? He is mocking me right there. Howdy. What's up, Holland? Adrian says, hey, Bobby Blue. Nicholas is in the chat. He just bought Eden Lake today, which is cool. We got Holland saying hi. We got Mizzy. Can't you see?
Hey, Mizzy.
Word just hypnotized me. Hey, Bob, Nikki in chat. We got Holland. We got Tony, Basement Blues in the chat. Good evening. He's down there somewhere already saying, get started. We got Joe just saying, hey, hope you are feeling well, Joe. Holland Oates is laughing. What's up, cool kids? We got Johnny in the chat. What's up, Johnny? We got Mark Kluber here. Hey, everyone. Might be my first time seeing Mark in here. Do you know Mark?
Mark is the best. Well, I'm listed on Facebook as Mark's mom, but he is the boys' close friend. He went to school with my younger son, and then he became ordained and married Jeff and Bree.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so Mark's part of the family. Mark's one of ours.
Well, what is up, Mark? If you're a friend of Nikki, then you're a friend of mine. So, and Jeff as well. We got Joe saying thanks, Tony and Miz. Hopefully home Thursday. We got Marie in the chat saying hi, everyone. First time, just me on the couch. Yeah, she's home by herself with the kid. Adrian says, hey, everyone. And what's up, Mizzy? What's up, Joe and Marie? Johnny says we got Grant saying hi, everyone. No hardcore Grant today, just Grant. We got Mark saying hey to Mizzy, Uncle Tony. Hi, Marie and Johnny. Honestly, Mark's already saying hi to everybody. Look at that.
Yeah, Mark and Johnny are already pretty well buddy.
Each other.
Mark lives close to Tony. Tony and him have talked about going movie hunting together.
Oh, nice. So he's a big movie guy too, then.
Oh yeah, Mark's music.
Has Mark ever done a live stream? Jeff might know.
No.
No. Okay. Well, we're gonna change that, Mark. One day we're gonna change that. Living
Mark's a hardworking husband and daddy. He's
loving that Chucky
working.
doll. Yeah, that Chucky doll is really cool. Yeah, the Chucky doll is cool. Can I put you full screen so that everyone can see the Chucky doll? If it moves, should I tell you or just not worry about
it? If it starts moving, I'm out of here. My husband has been rewatching the Conjurings and the Annabelles and all that crap this week. So yeah, we're not talking about moving dolls today.
You just see her start running. She's out of his room. Been here a few times, Bob. Well, I appreciate you being here again. It's hard. I never remember people usually. LOL, moving on along. Yeah, right. But thanks for being here, Mark. All right. So he was probably here last time you were live too, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Steve says, hey, everybody. What's up, Steve? Whenever you are ready, you can start with your number 10 if you want to. Did I just see Dell pop in? I did. What's up, Dell? One of my favorites.
Dell.
Dell says, Nikki, you don't give a crap about me. But I'm just joking. Love you, Dell. Dell's one of my favorites around. What's up, Steve? Okay, so do you want to start with number 10 or do you want to kind of keep rambling on a little bit for a while?
No, I can tell you my number 10.
All right, so I got the posters all ready. So obviously I don't know your order. So once you tell me it, I'll just pop it up on the screen for about 5 or 10 seconds. I'll try and put up any discussing now tabs if I remember. And any spoilers, just let me know and I'll pop up that spoilers tab.
All right. Number 10 is going to be On the Waterfront.
All right, right there on the waterfront, number 10.
Now, don't get me wrong. This was a pretty good movie overall. I did give it 2.5 stars. And I love Marlon Brando. If I could tell you what was missing from it, I wouldn't know what it was. But I just feel like it wasn't the Marlon Brando I was expecting. Like, I don't know. I just watched Missouri Breaks again not too long ago. Now that one, fabulous in that, But to me, I just feel like this was maybe too early in his career for the charisma he built. I just didn't feel it was there yet, I guess. It is probably the only reason it's in my 10 spot. However, it's a good story. I did like the movie overall. It's just, I would call it below average for my taste. I did kind of like some of the throwbacks to the slang from back then when he was just like, I'm just a potato eater, because that's how they treated the workers and stuff back then. And I saw that kind of even growing up because, of course, my dad was a truck driver and you kind of just seen how regular blue collar workers were, I don't know, kind of treated like crap. Still are to this day, honestly. It was funny when he called the one guy a juice head because when we were growing up they were called winos. It's just little things like that stood out to me about the older slang and that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I felt like he got caught up in a trap when he knows he witnessed something he shouldn't have witnessed, and he was kind of a party to it, and he wanted to rectify that with the sister, the family, but he really didn't do it. He really didn't, he carried more weight for that than I think he should have. So it kind of, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite of his movies that I've seen. So,
which is totally fair. I don't think I've seen a ton of Brando. This would not be the highest on my list. I just wanted to find one older movie to put on your list.
And it's a great story. Like it's a good story. And the cast, my God. I mean, Carl Malden and Eva St. Eva Marie Saint and Lee J. Cobb, Rod Steiger, Fred Gwynn's in it, Leif Erickson's in it, James Westerfield's in it. I mean, the cast is amazing. And that's why I say, if I could tell you what it was lacking for me, I don't know what it was, because I even rewatched it again this morning trying to figure it out. Well, because I didn't have my ranking ready till today, because I was just like,
Can I say I appreciate how serious not only you but so many other people take my list, but also when they make me a list. So you, and this is calling everybody else out, Mizzy from Caprice to everybody else who's made a list. I appreciate how genuinely people enjoy doing these or take them seriously. So that's what I enjoy doing about these is, it's just fun to do for me. I like it a lot. I have fun with it. So I appreciate that, the feeling is mutual, hopefully.
Well, and I mean, that's like I was telling Jeff tonight, I've made myself another channel. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with it yet. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I enjoy these types of conversations, and I would probably be more likely to do something closer to this, like even if it's just a one-on-one about one movie for a shorter amount of time. Mm-hmm. Just because I just enjoy this kind of banter back and forth, and being able to have an honest, open opinion about something. And here's the thing, like, you don't find a lot of people that are interested in the same things you are. So when you do, that matters, because you actually have somebody to talk to about the things you like or don't like about a movie.
And it's so fun. Like you just sent me the reel. You sent me 2 Kevin Costner reels recently, and the way I told Mizzy, I said, Nikki sent me 2 Kevin Costner reels in the last 2 days. I said she could send as many of those as she wants. But Kevin Costner had said, like, he's like, I view it as a success if somebody recommends one of my movies to them.
That's right.
To a person. And so we're sitting here and we're talking about recommending movies to each other. Like, all these people were recommending their movies. They might not obviously know it, but it's like, that might be how they view success. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you just recommended 10 to me 10 days, a couple of weeks ago, and now I recommended 10 to you. Obviously they're not seeing it, but it's like, hey, obviously we appreciate your movies enough to tell people about it.
Right. And I mean, obviously, not to spoil anything ahead of time, but you gave me 2 Kevin Costner movies. What was I going to do? I mean, yep. I watched 4 during that time. So there you have it.
There's a lot of Costner movies going around lately on people's lists.
I
think Mizzy's got a Costner movie, and a couple other people got a couple Costner movies that I recommended. But somebody recommended me one. So, or actually, people have been recommending me Costner movies too. Corey gave me one, so it's cool. I get to recommend some, and they recommend some to me, so it works out. I only wrote down a couple quotes for this one. I didn't write notes on every one of them. I think I got around to like, let's see here. There's only one I didn't rewatch because I watched it back in March, and then I didn't rewatch that one either, which was back in May 2022. Oh, that's a while ago. But anyways, those are the only 2 I didn't rewatch. So, but I've seen it enough times to talk about it. But never will be too soon for me, Shorty. I wrote that quote down. I like that. Mm-hmm. He don't need a doctor. He needs a priest. One of the quotes. I love this quote, of course. Everybody, it's a big one. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am. I love that quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then I wrote, it had been about 17 or 18 years since I had seen this one. I'm glad I finally revisited it. I watched in film class, and I'm really expecting you to like this one I wrote.
So, I do like it. And like, I mean, there were things about it. Like, I wrote a couple of the quotes down myself, like, probably my favorite one is when she just looks at him and says, shouldn't everybody care about everybody else? And I don't know why that's the phrase that just hit me and wrapped me in that moment, but just looking for somebody to see things from your side, see things from your point of view. And all she really wanted was some answers, and somebody to give a damn that she wanted the answers, So, I mean,
trust me, if there's okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies on this list that are in my top 100 of all time. I took a risk. Okay, there's like 4 that are in my top, like 3 that are in my top 25 of all time. So There's a lot, and this is not one of them. So
Okay.
trust me, you're not going to hurt my feelings with this one. Even
Then we're probably good from here out. I mean, I only have like one more that was okay.
Okay. Yeah, this is not one of them. There's only like 6 out of the 10 that would. There's one that's in my top. 2 are in my top 15 of all time. So yeah, those could hurt. You might leave some tears if you hated those, but we'll see.
Okay.
I'm really excited to get into that. I probably gonna have a lot to say, and I'm super excited to hear your thoughts on those ones. Draculina Horror says, "Good evening, everyone, and hello, my darling Nikki. What's up, Caprice? She'll be on next week. Yes, the 17th. Caprice will be on next week. So, and she just took a nice little trip. She sent me some beautiful pictures of where she was at. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, are you a professional photographer? Mizzy says one I haven't seen, and Tony says 2.5. A smiley face, or he's laughing. I'm not sure. Hey, Caprice. Mizzy says, hey, chat, you too. Mizzy's seen 8 out of the 10. He was asking me, he's like, can you tell me what? I was like, I won't tell you what they are. I was like, but I'll tell you you've seen 8 out of the 10. I know Mizzy very well, to know what he's seen and what he hasn't. On the Waterfront is 10. Apparently, Nikki doesn't think Brando was a contender.
I love Brando.
Adrian says, hello there, Caprice. I hope you're keeping well. Hey, Helen, Jane, and Bob. What's up, Gizmo? Tony says, I still need to see this one, but I will wait a while now. Caprice Melody of Horror. Hey, Holland, Comrade Gizmo. We just got a lot of highs back and forth. Hey, Jeff, what's up, everyone? We got Sydney Eubanks in the chat. Looking forward to seeing what he rates all of these. I always enjoy hearing that. Gizmo says, thank you. What's Johnny watching? Johnny, I can't talk to you for a week. Corey said we need to be not talking together. Too much information from the leader has been leaked, and now we are 2 steps away from... I don't know. He's continuing that probably. Hey, Tony, on the Waterfront, great movie, 4 out of 5. See, always look forward to that. I have seen The Godfather and Apocalypse Now, but not this movie. Yes, sir. Roger that. I didn't like Apocalypse Now. I'm not a fan, but I love Godfather. Love Godfather. Don't like Apocalypse Now. On the Waterfront is good, but check out One-Eyed Jack's great.
One-Eyed Jack's, yes, I just watched that not too long back too.
Never seen it, but we got Laren in the chat. I always love seeing Laren in the chat. He's such a good dude. He just had a birthday recently. What's Johnny watching? He has eyes everywhere. I think it's dangerous because most says, hey, Tony. Laren, I saw you say hi to me right before Corey ended his stream today. I was so late to that stream. Anytime I pop on YouTube, I popped into Corey's chat and he's like, bye, everyone. I was like, hi, bye. One-on-one for a shorter amount of time. That's Corey's music. Corey's shorter time. It's bad. Holland's so sarcastic tonight. My man, Laren. Laren, my love, how are you? Laren, eyes on the road, Holland says. Holland, don't say his name. You need to be ranked to say the leader's name, I was told. Holland, I'm totally driving right now. Not really. He says, not really. Laren, how are you doing? Adrian says, all right, good. Laren, my eyes are down here. Could have been a contender. Shit, I just spoiled something. Can you tell me him to go easy on me, please? This is such a side conversation. I'm pretty good tonight, Caprice. How are you? What's up, everyone? We got Eli in the chat. Laren says, I'm good, buddy. How's the night of Adrian tonight? We've got, what's up, Eli Disney of Horror herself, Caprice. We have got Found Late Night with the Devil's Steelbook at Walmart today, and they also had Frogman from Terror Vision with Slip and Slip. Nice. So what I don't like, Eli, is that gosh darn it, I can't talk. That Late Night with the Devil's Steelbook, when they release steelbooks with art cards, but they don't fit in the steelbook. I'm like, what do I do with the damn art cards? It annoys me. And that's happened before with so many things, and they got to stop doing that. Companies need to make the art cards be able to fit. Because I unless somebody in the chat could tell me what I should do with my art cards, I just don't know what to do with them. I guess you could get them signed. I don't know. That would be cool. If you meet somebody, you could sign one of them. I don't know. Found Late Night with the Devil's Steelbook at Walmart today, and they also had Frogman and Terror Vision. Yep. Hey, Johnny, I didn't like Apocalypse Now either. Love The Godfather, though. Same here, Nicholas. If you don't like Apocalypse Now, try one of the other 78 cuts.
There's a good one out there somewhere.
I think I did the shortest cut, the theatrical one. I watched the theatrical. I didn't watch the Redux. I think I watched the theatrical one. Which is your favorite cut, Del? Jeff, my brother. I'm good, thanks. Adrian says, put the steelbook in a bag and the cards can stay put inside the slip. Oh, yeah.
Of course, Tony wants full packaging all times.
In the bag. He's right. You could put them in the bag. I guess. Actually, I could do that, I suppose. I love the scene with Robert Duvall on the beach when he wanted to surf during the battle. That was all. Yep. Okay, so that was number 10. You have anything else to say, or did you want to did you have anything else for number 10 before I move on to
No,
number 9?
no, we're good.
All right, so number 9. It was literally all the
Number
way.
9, Eastern Promises.
All right, number 9. Guess what? This is not. I like this movie a lot. But it's not one that's in my top 100 of all time or anything like that. So this is not going to break my heart either. Although,
Oh,
if you say that Naomi Watts isn't perfection, I will have words with you because Naomi Watts is gorgeous.
I love Naomi Watts.
I'll send you a link for the bags. I have plenty of bags. I have like 800 of them, Tony. I don't buy the DVD bags you like because I don't like having to put a piece of tape on them. So I buy the Blu-ray bags that actually fit perfectly. But Tony likes the bigger bags so he could put his slips in there. I really liked Eastern Promises, Tony says. Laren, I think that's the 3.5 hour version. I did Eastern Promises. Nicholas says that Eastern Promises is ass didn't make our shelf. Damn, Joe.
Oh, Joe.
I own Eastern Promises, but I haven't seen it. Eastern Promises, great movie, 4 out of 5 stars. I liked it a lot. Rewatched recently, forgot it's a little slow. It is slow. It is slow. Very slow.
It is slow.
Okay.
Now, and when I said I watched most of them multiple times, I watched this one twice because it was another one I wanted to really see if I could like better the second time.
Okay. What did you give this one rating wise?
A 2.5 as well.
Okay.
First thing I wrote down was, okay, Bob, 2 minutes, 30 seconds in, and they're already slicing throats, off to the races.
Nice. They did. They didn't waste time.
And I thought, okay, so this is going to be that, but
It's slow.
when it turns into the other thing, yeah, he was a sick old bastard, but
we could talk spoilers if you want one eventually when we get to that, and just let me know if you want to talk spoilers at the end. And I'll put them on the screen whenever you're ready.
I mean, you might want to turn them on because pretty much everything I got to say about this one is probably going to spoil one thing or another.
No, for sure. This is one that's pretty tough to talk about. So we're gonna talk spoilers. Just a heads up to everyone in the chat that hasn't seen Eastern Promises. We're gonna be talking spoilers now. So Nikki, take it away.
All right. Okay, well, the first thing, I mean, you're trying to figure out what the story's all about, and she goes in and sit down and have dinner with her mother and her uncle says that shit to her. Woo! He said, it's not natural to mix race to race. That's why the baby inside you died. Oh, I cringed. I almost vomited. I couldn't believe he said that to her. And so then I felt like, wow, okay, so now how tormented is she? What kind of stuff has she been through? And now she's over here being a midwife, delivering babies, and she's recently obviously lost one. And for somebody to say that sick comment to her like that, like as a woman, oof. How she didn't get up and stab him with the steak knife, I don't know, because I probably would have. Okay, so then you get to the other side of the story where she's trying to figure it out. She's got the diary. She's got this baby. She's looking for some sort of connection to who she can get in contact with to give this baby to. And then she meets the driver. I like Viggo Mortensen. Some of his roles are absolutely phenomenal. I did not feel like this was one of them. However, the brutal fight scene in the sauna, dude, they were whooping it. And I do not, wow. Like, okay, I haven't seen a good hand-to-hand combat fight like that in a long time in a movie. They were, and he was holding his own, so it was a good fight. But I didn't really understand his connection. Was he a spy? Was he trying to take over? Well, in the end, I think you figure out he was trying to take over, but then who were the other people that were helping him? I just, again, watched it twice, and I really didn't understand all of that. So I was like, okay.
Like the twist at the end, how he's obviously undercover.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you kind of figure it out a little bit earlier when he's talking to the guy, and trying to give him the information and stuff, and but you don't really know what he's trying to get to. And then at the end, when he starts taking over, taking the old man's spot, it's like, okay, so then why was he doing all this other stuff over here with her? Like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he gonna, I don't know.
I'd say he was I look at him as a good guy, so to speak, quote unquote, with a history, with the past. He's definitely not. I'd say he's been through and done some shit that he might not be proud of, or something like that. To that extent,
right.
I don't know, but
To be that inside all that, yeah. I mean, I imagine that's kind of how it rolls out in the mafia,
Yeah, and I was actually just talking to Missy about this because there's going to be a movie on one of his lists eventually, when we were talking about being undercover and having to do things that you really shouldn't be doing. But when you're undercover, you do a lot of things that you might not be supposed
otherwise
to.
do.
Exactly. Like, it might be drugs, it might be getting a tattoo or something like that, a Nazi tattoo if you're undercover trying to infiltrate.
Well,
like
see, and that's what threw me off, because he really went through with all the tattoos and the whole markings and the the loyalty tests and all that stuff, and then he's talking to the other guy. So and did he become a leader to take them all down?
Yeah.
Is there a second part to this? Like, I kind of felt like there wasn't an ending.
And there's no part 2, and there definitely is an open-ended ending to this one for sure, no doubt. I agree with that, because you don't get much closure. Like, the brother, he just lets him go, or the son, whatever, the brother's son, the son, he just lets him go at the end. So but yeah, I love Naomi Watts' character in this. I actually wrote in my notes, Viggo absolutely crushed it in this role. Not surprised he was nominated for an Oscar. And Naomi Watts is stunning in this. One of my favorite roles of hers. Maybe my favorite role. Not my favorite movie of hers, but my favorite role, probably. She's so perfect, though, to me.
Yeah, she definitely
she's super likable in this.
She is, and you really see that she goes through kind of a metamorphosis herself with this, trying to rescue this baby. And then when they take the baby and they're trying, and they catch him trying to throw it out, and I'm just like, oof.
Yeah.
With all the dead babies we're watching lately, guys,
This one doesn't die, but
and then right. I mean, thank God they saved it, but
Yeah, me and Joe were swapping dead baby movies for a bit there, and I put an end to that on Joe's next list. No dead babies. So
yeah.
But yeah, I wrote, how about that bathroom scene? Damn, that was badass. It's a good one.
When they're fighting, oh my goodness.
Pretty slow, definitely not a fast-paced movie, and it's a lot of story. But damn, I totally dig this story and where this movie goes. It keeps me totally engaged. I'm pretty straightforward, but it is so well done. I think it's a perfectly written script I wrote.
And I feel like it's a good story. I just feel like it
now,
doesn't.
Do you like a movie where? So Tim is a big fan of, like, I haven't seen it, so no spoilers, please, in the chat. But like Black Phone, I guess, has a really open-ended ending. I guess they're gonna do a sequel to that. But like, Tim's a big fan of movies that leave stuff open. He doesn't need a cozy little, ending. I could take or leave. It depends on the movie for me.
Yeah.
Depends on the movie, because there's somewhere I'm like, I need an ending, and then there's somewhere I'm like, this is interesting to leave open-ended, like a Joyride or something like that.
I get that with Stephen King books. I don't know if you're much of a reader, but I've read about 90% of his catalog.
You said that, yeah. Last time you were on here, you were mentioning that. Yep.
And a lot of his stories are open-ended at the end, and you as the reader get to make up how you want to see those characters end. But he's very good at it. And sometimes movies don't live up to that when they end that way. And I just feel like this was one of them.
Okay, yeah. No, and it's fair. And look, this isn't, one that's even high on my list. And hey, 2.5 is, better than some of the ratings I've given, right? So, and that's what at the end of the day, like, I enjoy hearing what somebody thought, you know what I mean? So, and Joe said this movie is ass. Didn't make it himself. So, I mean, he thought it was terrible. But no, I totally get that, and it is interesting to hear different people say like, "Oh, I really like the open-ended ending," or "I need like you need to tell me how this ends." Like, and
Yeah.
sometimes I feel as a viewer, I'm like, "Look, I'm not the writer. Don't tell me to finish your ending." I'm like,
Yeah.
some people are like, "Well, you could write it. Like, just think of how it would end." And I'm like, "No, I don't want to do that. You tell me
Have
how
you
it would end."
seen The Mist?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For
Okay. I'm going to talk spoilers on The Mist too, so you can leave that up for just a hot second, because the way the story ends in the novella that Stephen King wrote is him and the old people and the kid are just driving off.
Okay.
And that's how it ends.
Nobody shoots anybody.
Yeah. So when Frank Darabont, who did The Walking Dead, got this going, and he is like, I want to do this as an ending. He went to Stephen King with it, and he was like, yeah, go for it. And woo, as a reader who was not expecting that, I was like, oh God, oh God. I mean, it was another one that almost made me want to vomit, because, then he looks down and he doesn't have another bullet. And I'm like, oh, what did he just do? What did he just do? And then, the clouds part.
When he gets out, holy shit.
And that's not how the book ends.
So it's a happy ending for the most part.
It's just you get to decide whether or not some bullshit like that happens. You don't have to watch it go down.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
for sure.
So that's what I say. Some of it works for me. And as a reader of Stephen King stories, and he does that a lot, reading it is easier than watching it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't read novels much. I read different types of books when I do read, and I don't read a whole lot.
Have you seen what's the other Stephen King one? The Dark Tower?
No. That's
okay.
Idris
Then I
Elba.
won't talk about that one, because that one I don't like as a movie, but the book is
That's Idris Elba.
in my soul.
Haven't seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dell says he owns Eastern Promises but hasn't seen it. Eastern Promises, great movie, 4 out of 5. I liked it, rewatched it recently. I like the naked cartwheel, same as Tony. Okay, Johnny's gonna get a backhand when I see him with this comment. Naomi Watts lost the beauty contest. Goonies. I said right, he's gonna get backhanded in April. You better backhand, Johnny.
Oh my goodness.
Shit. High five, Joe. LOL. I guess you either like it or hate it. Hey Tony. Mark says, hey Tony, LOL. I can't believe the PS5 Pro is $700 with no disk drive. Oh, that's crazy. No disk drive. That drives me crazy. Good day, Professor Bob. Hey, Mommy Nikki.
Hey, Prince.
Mommy Nikki. That's an interesting Prince. Good old Prince. You never know what he's gonna say, right? We got Johnny. Hey Prince, Eli, Jeff. Lots of highs back and forth. Nika avocado looks like Bob now. LOL. I don't even know what that means. It really is BS, Eli. Jeff, Johnny, Laren. Yeah, so Jeff, I know he's a big gamer, so he would think about that.
He just put out a video on it right before we went live.
Oh, Jeff. Okay, yeah.
And it's a new PS5 with
and no disk drive.
Yeah,
$100. Yeah, he needs to put some clothes on next time.
What was that comment from Prince right there?
Mommy Nikki, have you seen From Paris with Love?
I tried. If you were in Corey's last week, Prince, I tried to get them to pick that as their next watch along, because I had just watched it for like the 100th time. I love that movie, and everybody should watch that one. If you haven't seen From Paris with Love, please go watch that movie. Everybody needs to come on and talk about it. It's a great watch from beginning to end.
John Travolta, right? That one?
Yes. Okay. And John Ray Davies.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah, I like it. Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill had a great fist fight in Mission Impossible. They did. But Tony wants him to put more clothes on next time in Eastern Promises.
Well, I mean, when you get a guy in the John, you just get what you get, I guess.
Yeah, sorry, Tony. And Viggo Mortensen, he really enjoys showing his penis off in his movies, because
I'm sure.
Time. I think it's like the 3rd time he's done it. So. The reason I love thrillers is the sex, violence, drugs, and anarchy. He says, Tony, lots of swinging going on. I love the history of violence with Viggo Mortensen. Hey. What's up, y'all? Anthony says, "What's up,
Hey,
Anthony?" We
Anthony.
got Anthony's Horror and More in the chat. What's going on, man? Ashley's in the chat. Says hi, Nikki in chat.
Hey,
And
Ashley.
Rose Bob, hi also. What's up? Hey, Anthony. We got lots of highs to Anthony and Ashley. I'm gonna skip all those. Just highs back and forth. She's saying hi to everyone. Movie Warehouse says the movie In Too Deep with Omar Epps is like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like which one? From Paris with Love? Or no, can't be. He's talking about that In Too Deep. I haven't seen In Too Deep, by the way, not yet. I know exactly which movie you're talking about, but I haven't seen it. Yep, Whiff. Didn't like it. Just Anthony saying hi to literally everyone. In Too Deep is good, but Deep Cover is even better. Hey, Anthony. I say watch Deep Cover, but the fact that you say that makes me want to watch it more. In Too Deep, very good movie. 3.5 out of 5. Deep Cover, 4 out of 5. It seems like most people like Deep Cover better. I think Eastern Promises ended with him going back to the sauna and cleaning it up with bleach and putting the towels in the wash.
Sanitize that
That's
place
a
after all
good one. Movie Warehouse, very heartbreaking. I love the ending to The Mist as well. Stephen King approved of Frank Darabont ending. So is
that.
that rare for Stephen King to be like, yeah, okay, cool, change my ending?
I mean, I don't know. They kind of always jack around with his scripts, so I don't know. But for them to actually ask for his input on something that dramatic, I mean, you know,
It's funny. Capri says I would kill to hang out with Nikki. She's my kind of people. I was I
oh,
was
thanks.
telling a couple of people. I said we're gonna tell Jeff he could bring Nikki with to the Airbnb in April.
Well, I told him I might come up and go hunting with you guys when you go to the movie store.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because
So
you're not too far. You're like 2 hours. David
yeah.
Cronenberg is the director of Eastern Promises. Yeah, Cronenberg is. Yes, he is. And I like some Cronenberg. I don't like the shivers from like the 70s that he did. Not my cup of tea. Johnny will be a secret guest on the birthday stream next month. John Travolta was crazy as fuck. The Dakota Johnson birthday stream. I guess now is a good time to plug that, huh, Holland? It's like an undercover movie where cops have to push the boundaries of what they would normally do.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Very much.
Do you want me to take spoilers off the screen? You want to move
Sure.
on? Okay.
Sure, we can move on to number 8.
Figure out where that is. Okay, number 8. All right. I am ready whenever you are.
All right. Number 8 is Unstoppable.
Okay. I like the way this is going so far. Genuinely, like I like these movies, obviously all of them. But I like the way it's going so far. Unstoppable, number 8.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say you gave me any bad movies because I mean we're at a 3-star from here on out.
Okay, that's good. So this one's 3.
3.
All right.
And it's because, I mean, again, it's got a stacked cast. I mean, Denzel, Chris Pine, Rosario Dawson, Kevin Dunn. Kevin Dunn's an asshole in this. Ethan Suplee, moron, you know. And I mean, but he's a moron in everything he's in.
So stupid. And the fact that this is real too, because it's a true story or
and
like, true events.
Right. And I don't have a lot of notes written down on this. But it's another one. I watched it 3 times, so I really liked it. The only reason it's a 3-star is because I just had a really hard time with some of these movies where I was going to rank them because of I loved the cast in this movie. Matter of fact, Kevin Dunn's in 2 or 3 of the movies that you gave me, and he's kind of a jackass in real life, but he always plays somebody you either love to hate or just absolutely love to love. He was the train company owner.
I just looked him up. His face is super familiar. Name though, didn't know who he was.
Oh, yeah. He's been around a long time. Bit parts, this, that, and the other.
Yeah,
so
I've seen a bunch of crap with him. Yeah, not crap, but yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, this movie, like I said, I don't have a lot of notes on it, but you don't need a lot of notes on it. It's Denzel Washington. Just go watch it. It's good. It's a good story. They did it well. Yes, and I'm always a fan of true stories, so that's always helpful for me. It was Tony Scott directed, so even when they're having the heart pounding scenes and stuff, it's good. It doesn't lack in any of those areas at all. Probably the only reason it was a 3-star for me is because I I hate to see Denzel have to always get these parts that he has to. There's always a backside. Like this character also kind of reminded me of the John Q. He's the underdog in it, really. He's already been fired. He's already this, that, the other.
Love John Q.
Yes, me too. Me too. But it seemed like he had a lot of those types of roles, and
I would agree.
he's a better actor than that. So, but I loved him and Chris Pine's kind of banter in this one. It was, that was pretty good. But again, I've seen some of the deep Denzel, and this didn't get there for me. So that's the only reason why it was a 3. However, it was a good movie. It was a good story. The action was good. Yeah, so it was good.
That's fair. The only thing I wrote down was it's still accurate today of companies being cheap, willing to risk people's lives to be cheap, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote that stood out the most when I rewatched this. I was just like, damn. I was like, dude, you know what? I was watching and I was just like, man, this is so accurate. Companies being like, here, let's just put somebody's life at risk or a bunch of lives at risk because we don't want to lose $150,000.
Yeah, and I mean, and it was millions of dollars. They still
Lost, right?
What? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
they lost how many trains, how many lives?
Yeah, exactly. There was like 2 people that died, I think, trying to rescue
3.
They wanted 3 people that died. Okay, yep.
Yeah, because what I wrote down was how do you let a train get away from you like that?
Mm-hmm.
So what a dumbass! No one can make that jump when he's trying to jump.
I know the guy got fired who didn't get back on the train. I don't know if he got charged with any kind of manslaughter or anything like that, because what's funny is not funny, but when watching movies like this, Flight with Denzel Washington, they tell it's Flight. They're like, look, 8 lives were taken, 8 people passed away. Somebody has to answer for this. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Stuff like that. It's not like, where it's different. I don't know. Like, somebody has to answer when people's lives are lost. You know what I mean? Usually. And a movie like this, I'm sure somebody had to answer for the fact that people died. And I'm sure maybe Ethan Suplee's character might have had a part of that because he's the one that let the damn train get away. I don't know if you can sue him or anything, but like, I know he lost his job over it.
Right. I mean, but my thing is not only was he made the stupid decision, but it seemed like every decision they made from there on out, they either lost lives, lost trains, and it was like, you just go ahead and derail it if before you get to that point. She was right about that. However, I mean, with what we've seen with these derailments and how much pollution it puts out into the water systems and stuff like that, of course that's not really what you want to see happen. I mean, and they did the best they could not to let that happen because of all those chemicals being on there and everything. But I mean, the stupid things they did to get there. I mean, when they put that Marine on that thing and was trying to drop him on, oh my God. And he went through the windshield. I was just like, oh, here we go. And then it was one bad decision after another, until, I mean.
Yeah, and then the helicopter pilot, obviously that blew up. The plane, helicopter, whatever, blew up. I didn't put the now discussing tab up for this. Whoops, my bad. As I tend to forget, it is what it is. I apologize, but here you go. And now that we're done talking about it, we were discussing Unstoppable. Did you want to catch up with the chat and move on?
Sure.
Okay. Do that. Take that off the screen. No spoilers on this one, really. Just like we said, it's just pretty much a straightforward action movie. Look at that. It's the first thing I open up to here. Ashley says, at least Nikki liked your suggestion. Sorry I had to. Yeah, we already discussed that earlier. Unstoppable, good movie, 3.5 out of 5 for me. Unstoppable, so much fun. Amazing movie. Love Tony Scott. I really like it. I grew up watching it when I was probably a teenager or whatever. Do like trains, but this was not for me, Grant says. Unstoppable is a lot of fun. Solid supporting cast as well. Always enjoy reading Anthony's reviews on Letterboxd. He was good as the dad in Transformers. LOL. She sure is, Laren. John Doe Juggalo says some kind of role in Flight. Yeah, same kind of role. Yeah, kind of like the underdog a little bit. Yeah, easy there, Tony. Flight is good though, right, Tony? Yes, I recommended Flight to Tony. Out of one of Denzel very underrated movies is Out of Time, Book of Eli,
Yeah.
Deja Vu. I like Deja Vu a lot. Or
Oh
no,
man,
I'm sorry,
Book of Eli.
Book of Eli. I like a lot. That's the one.
Mm,
Bone Collector, love Bone
Bone
Collector.
Collector's
My
good.
favorite. Could have done without the first 10 minutes though of Flight. He doesn't like the boobs in it. There's boobs in the first 10 minutes of
Thanks,
Fight.
Sydney. I gave him Fallen last time. Bob wasn't saying.
Flight, all good ones. Yeah, the Fallen didn't work for me though. Training Day, Denzel's a classic. Hell, I like the Little Things, very good one. Denzel's a great actor. Roman Israel Esquire was garbage though. Everyone has a dud, I guess. I didn't see.
Mhm.
So I can't. Ricochet is awesome. Fallen and Ricochet kick ass. Never even heard of Ricochet.
Oh, Ricochet's good.
Yeah, never even heard of it. Denzel's my favorite actor of all time. Sydney Eubanks says Kevin Costner is my favorite actor of all time. So
We find out.
we haven't gotten in any Kevin Costner yet, so we're doing good so far.
Yeah.
All right, number 7, I believe it would be. Yes.
Number 7 is a Kevin Costner. It's the Guardian.
Okay. All right. Number 7 is The Guardian. This is pretty high up on my list, but that's okay. It's not.
And again, it's good. I mean, it's a 3-star for me.
Okay. See, because of and I didn't know because so now discussing Guardian. So you really liked. Well, I really liked An Officer and a Gentleman, and I seem to bring people that keep telling me you can bring that up every time on a damn show. I was like, shut up, I don't care.
Right, when you find one you love. I mean,
and so I was like, okay, she liked that. It wasn't her number 1 or even up there. I was like, I think it was your number 8 or something like that. But you didn't really care for Annapolis. And I was like, okay, this is somewhat like Annapolis, but it's a lot like An Officer and a Gentleman as well. I felt like a little bit. There's the romance, a little romance in it, not as much, but Navy, Army type of stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe this will work for her. So I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts.
Well, I just need to say a comment. I love Kevin Costner. I like Ashton Kutcher. I mean, he's not one of my favorites, but I do like him. Okay. I love Celia Ward.
The wife.
Like, she's one of my favorite actresses. Like, I could watch anything she's in. However, why'd you give me so many movies where the women are not upright women?
So this one, you didn't like her character as much in this one.
I didn't like her character as much in this, but I just feel like there's a couple of the movies where I didn't feel like the wives were as supportive as they should have been, or the significant others.
I'm gonna go look now. I have the list right in front of me, but I'm like, okay, which ones? I always think about that after you say that. I'm like, okay, which one would she be talking about? Okay, there's a couple where we still probably there's another one to come, I'm sure, right? Or more than one, maybe. Yeah, I think there's multiple. I think now that you mentioned that, I see what you're saying. Wasn't my intentions. There's a scene in The Guardian though that I love.
Movies. I mean, I don't have a problem with the
Celia
movie.
Ward,
it's like it's
there's
okay.
There's one
there is a
scene
TV
at the
show
end.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Okay, at the end, if she would have just followed him out to the car, not just out to the driveway.
When Kevin Costner says to her, and I'm going to talk spoilers. You know what? If you haven't seen The Guardian,
just do it, Bob.
Yeah. This is spoilers for The Guardian. There's this scene, and man, I loved this scene though. When he says it, he's like, I've been watching what I didn't write it down. Because I love this movie. But when he says to her, he's like, I realize he's talking about a case he had, and he says a husband dragged his wife down, and he goes, I realize I've been doing that for you. And I was just like, damn, the way he explained it and how he tied that in to that scene earlier in the movie where he watches a husband drag his wife down, and he's like, I feel like I've been doing that to you. And he puts his hand on her shoulder, and she just kind of lets it go. And then, like you said, she follows him out, but doesn't quite say anything.
Doesn't take that next step, and I was just so
Yeah,
disappointed.
and it's just so, man, I love Costner in this movie. I love Costner in everything. There's
Right.
not a whole lot of Costner I don't like. It's rare. I mean, really rare to recommend a
Yeah.
movie that's Kevin Costner that I don't like. But oh man, yeah.
I just wanted her to be more for him in that moment.
Okay.
And I don't think he would have went back out for that last rescue
If he was with her. Yeah.
if she would have just walked right on over.
Yeah, because yeah.
Instead of that stopping short, man, it disappointed me. But let's see. Okay,
I
what I
just
write down.
rewatched the movie with her stepfather remake she was in. She was in the remake of that.
Oh, I'll have to watch that. Okay, first thing I wrote down is you had me with Clancy Brown doing the narration at the beginning. I absolutely love Clancy Brown. I don't care if it's a small part, a big part, it don't matter. He's always cast right in whatever he's cast in. I love Clancy Brown. You can tell right away that she's over it. I had a question like after he had his accident, did he even know that she was there? I don't think he figured that out. That's why I expected her at the end to make that extra step. And when she didn't, I was like, because when he had the accident and she was in the hospital room with him when he was out cold.
And he said he didn't know, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. Did you think he was going to die at the end? Did you think that was going to happen? Did you know it? Did you see it coming?
No, I didn't see it coming. But when he unhooked himself.
Me, I like my depressing endings.
Yeah, and I mean, and it works in this movie. It really does. But it was just, and I appreciated the you get when he unhooks himself. The oh God, no, he didn't. But he wasn't going to take the kid down with him.
It's like, I won't let go, and he's like, I know you won't. And
Yeah,
he's got to do it. Yeah, he couldn't hold them both.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep interrupting you on this one.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I mean, and that's why I say this was a really good movie, and I did love the story, and the moments, like you were talking about that were the moments that leaned more towards an officer and a gentleman, like when they're having their banter back and forth, like Richard Gere and Lou Gossett did, that hits. They pulled that off right. Their banter back and forth was great, but I mean, from the very moment when he goes in there and he stands up at the end of that first introduction or whatever it is, Ashton Kutcher stands up and he says when they ask, is there any questions? And he's like, yeah, is that guy living or dead? And he's like, well, why do you ask? And he says, because I want to take all of his records down off the wall and He says, well, why don't you turn around and say it to his face? And I was just like, yeah,
right
open mouth, insert foot. You just made A school real hard there, buddy.
I found a new line, I guess it would be a homosexual term. It was a puddle pirate, they called him.
Puddle pirate, yes.
Puddle pirate. I was like, wait, I've never heard that before. I've heard a lot of terms. I was like, I've never heard puddle pirate though.
The Navy guys, let me just tell you, I have a little bit of experience with Navy guys, and I will say that Navy guys do not get along with Marines or the Coast Guard, and I do not know why they all think they're so much better than each other, but y'all do basically the same job for different reasons and in different areas, so why it's always a pissing contest, I've never understood, but it always is.
Dude, Army, Navy, like the Navy, Marines, military, all of the military branch, it's like, why are we, because it seems like they all four hate each other, all four branches. Yeah. They don't get along. It is always a pissing contest. And I'm like, what's with that? I don't get it. I mean, I feel like they all serve a purpose. And honestly, I like a lot, like, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's Navy, Marines, I'm probably enjoying that movie. I'm just always into movies like that. It's rare that I don't like a military movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I mean, and everybody was saying earlier they didn't really care for Apocalypse Now. That's a good story, though. I mean, it really is. It probably could have been maybe pulled off a little better, but I mean, maybe not. Not with what in the time it was made in. I mean, I don't know. I like the story, and I like Brando in that. So,
Yeah, Brando's always good. Did you give this 3 stars as well?
yeah, this one was a 3-star as well.
Okay, which I went back and forth on your ranking for, so we'll see. I don't think I'm doing very good so far right now, but that's okay. But honestly, sometimes you're like, I hope my ranking doesn't work out the way I want it to, because then maybe, I don't know. Yeah, because I have one of the ones that I love kind of low on your list and hasn't come up yet, which is a good thing.
Well, okay, starting with number 6.
Do you want? Oh, let me catch up on the
We
chat.
are
I'll get
we
in.
are going up from there. So,
Okay. I'm going to catch up with the chat and we'll get into number 6 then.
okay.
Unless there's anything else you wanted to say about Guardian before.
I mean, we could talk about Guardian for a while. There was so much about that movie that was good. Like, I mean,
Agree, Mark.
them developing the trust, even though they had crap to talk about. You're always going to have crap to talk about with your uppers. Your bosses, no matter whether it's military or a regular job. People talk crap about the boss all the time, but they really developed a good trust with him, and I liked that aspect of it. I liked the scene in the beginning where he asked him why he didn't save his teammate, and he was like, I wasn't how do you say that? I wasn't aware we were working as a team. Dude, that's the wrong answer anytime to any boss, whether you're always working as a team. So, and he just kept making it harder for himself, I felt like, by snipping off and then going on a date for the first time in God knows how long, and then not coming back. And I mean, just like, you just keep making it hard on yourself when he's really just trying to teach you what you need to know to be on your best, when you go trying to go out here and really save lives.
There's a one of my favorite scenes in that movie, and it's not really a big spoiler because I took spoilers off the screen, but is when he tells him the difference between you and I is I don't wear the ones I lost on my sleeve.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh man, that hits. Like, I don't know. There was, there was just a lot of good.
Oh, and in the end, when he gives him his number,
what do you?
When he keeps asking him throughout the movie, how many have you saved?
Oh my goodness! And yes,
and he tells him it's 22, and he goes, 22. Okay, respectable. And then he goes, no, that's the ones I've lost.
Right.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah,
he's like, that's the only ones worth counting.
Yep. Yeah. Oof. Yep. Yeah, I love this movie because you see the growth in Ashton Kutcher's character in this.
Yes, yeah. And that's one thing I do love about certain movies is actually getting to see a character grow like that. Mm-hmm. In a way, because like one of the things I wrote down is because after every comment I wrote cocky kids because that's all he acted like during the first half of the movie. Mm-hmm. And then I wrote down hearing the truth from Maggie about what really happened with Sergeant the senior, hearing the truth from Maggie changed his whiny baby attitude straight to humble jackass in a 1 second flat. And it was like, that's about the time you actually knew that he was getting it. When she said, when you have a record like that, then you come and talk to me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, well, now he's going to start looking at him through different eyes. So
I love when Kevin Costner punches the guy at the bar and he's ready. Yeah. And like, that's how I am. I'm like, I remember I was in a theater once with my buddy and I got into it with a couple people. This was after the movie was over. Yeah, they were really loud and they pissed me off. So after the movie was over, I was like, next time maybe you'll learn to shut the fuck up during the movie. And I just don't play games. I say exactly what's on my mind and I said it. And let's just say things they did not reply very nicely, and I was with one of my friends. That's all. And my friend kept walking. He just wanted to go. Didn't want to get in a fight that night. And I was like, I'll take three. You take three.
And your friends thinking those who stir the shit pot should have to lick the spoon, Bob. See you around.
Oh man, yep. If I was in a fight with Busy one day, like in a bar or something, I'd be like, Busy, you take two, I'll take four.
Mizzy be like, my ass.
Yeah, he'd be like, you go ahead, you started the fight. I don't want to fight. I don't like to fight. I just, sometimes my mouth gets the best.
Nah. I like to argue, though. I could have been a great lawyer.
Actually, Jeff says Ricochet has he believes has a new 4K belief. On Blu-ray.com right now, I realized it doesn't even have a Blu-ray release yet. So hopefully Kino puts it out on 4K. That would be really cool because I want to see it. When I pulled up the poster, was that Robert Duvall I saw in Ricochet, or no?
Maybe, yeah, I think so.
Okay, I like Robert Duvall. If that's
I love Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall is good. Okay, I'm gonna catch up with the chat here. I want to see Denzel and Guardian 2. Love the Guardian. These two did well together. I thought so. The Guardian, good movie, 3 out of 5. I got Ricochet in my pile. I need to watch that. Love Kevin in No Way Out. I haven't seen No Way Out.
I watched Field of Dreams too while I was watching all these, which I've seen 100 times, but I love the movie.
Field of Dreams is a good one. Yeah, Kevin Costner, Waterworld, Field of Dreams, Mr. Brooks, etc. Really good movie. 9.5 for me on The Guardian. Oh, nice, Grant. I approve. Hated Waterworld and Field of Dreams was average, but loved Mr. Brooks. Yeah, I'm not like the biggest Mr. Brooks fan because I think Dane Cook couldn't act his way out of a paper bag. The Postman was a great Kevin Costner movie.
I love The Postman.
Sure, Nikki watched the show Sisters back in the day. Like
I was gonna say that's exactly what I was gonna say, Mizzy. When I said I used to watch a TV show with her on back in the day, I loved that show. It's great.
Mm-hmm. I never heard of that show. I guess the exception of the Costner pick would be Waterworld. The Stepfather remake is fun. It had the Nip Tuck guy in it. Yeah, the exception is Costner. I know Waterworld. Everyone hates. You either love that movie or hate that movie. I don't love it, but I do have fun with Waterworld.
Yeah. I like those post-apocalyptic type movies.
Sydney, I have seen Upside of Anger. I thought it was all right. It wasn't bad. It was pretty decent. I watched that like last year for the first time. I love Kevin Costner and Mr. Brooks. Waterworld is pretty decent. Love Mr. Brooks. Ricochet is criminally underrated. I'm Bob's boss, and he talks crap about me all the time. Tony. Missing banner. I'm sorry. Indeed, Prince. Tony. Yeah, see, the problem is I don't come to the chat, so if you guys are screaming banner, I won't even see it. What's up, everyone? Just got back from my storage, so can finally watch this. So I do apologize for that. I'll try to remember. Bob, you think a guy who likes Dakota Johnson can't start some shit? I'll fucking take all you want. John
He's gotta be able to back that up, don't he, Johnny?
Bob, we can get the fighting out of your system in a few months. Tony wants to fight. I know he does. He's like dying to fight. I could tell Tony's one of those people who's like he'll never do it, but I bet Tony would love to punch somebody in the face. I bet he would love to. It would just feel
like he's got some pent up anger, do you?
I feel like he would love it. That's what I was thinking, Johnny. I was like, Ricochet is the one with Duvall. Okay, yep, my money's on Tony. I saw Ricochet in the theaters. I definitely enjoyed that one. My money's on Tony. Tony's probably like, quiet, but you don't want to fight him. Dane Cook had so much damn pullback then because of his stand-up comedy career. Yeah, he was in a lot of stuff like Employee of the Month. Yeah, not a fan. Okay, you want to dive into number 6?
All right, number 6, Brothers.
All right here. I like the way this list is going. I really, let me just say, before I interrupt or in the middle of the stream here, any more than I already have. Honestly speaking, outside of The Guardian, there's like none of these were the ones I was talking about in my top 6. So I'm pretty sure so far, like 4 out of your bottom 5 or whatever will be the ones that are in my top of all time. So
okay,
I'm
that's good then.
Liking this so far. What is this? How many stars on this one?
3.5.
Okay, so we're moving up here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything above 3 is kind of a successful recommendation in your eyes?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh,
I mean, I would even say probably a 3 is a success because 2.5 is below average. A
that's
2,
right. Yeah, 3 and above, I always look at as a successful recommendation. I don't love 3 by any stretch of the imagination, but if it's above average in my eyes, successful. If I
right.
like something about it, then good. Now 2.5, I don't personally view as a successful recommendation. It's not a bad movie. I just didn't like it.
Well, this movie was a little bit tough for me. But I was extremely glad that what he was accusing them of, they didn't do. Because they had every opportunity. So I was glad for that.
Okay.
This movie was tough for me because the family dynamic was already messed up before he left. Family means so much to me that when I see a broken family, it's hard because, I mean, especially now that, my mom has passed on and I really don't have too much family left. I got my brothers, and even one of those has already passed on. I mean, it's like, So when you have two brothers that are at odds, like those ones seem to be in the beginning, seemed like the dad was kind of pushing them to be at odds.
I agree.
Yeah. That kind of bothered me a little bit, but I mean, overall, it was a very deep story. It was very good. I don't know how I missed this one. I'm not a huge fan of Tobey Maguire. I love Natalie Portman. I like Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm not a huge fan of Tobey Maguire, but I did like him in this. When he gets to that breaking point in the driveway, that's all I can say about that is oof.
I thought Tobey Maguire turned in an Oscar type performance in
He
this.
did.
I thought he was so good, and it's not talked about enough.
Yeah, no,
He didn't get any
he
award
really good.
recognition for this. I thought it was excellent. Now, to speak on the dad thing you had mentioned, there's a scene in the movie when the dad literally says, like, he's like, "You could have done good, you just never applied yourself," or whatever. And it's like, so he is definitely like, and I get that because I felt like I was, that's a lot of kids, I suppose, but the way the dad talks to him throughout the movie, he keeps telling him, "You're not as good as him." Basically, is what he's saying. You're not as good as him.
Yeah, do what your brother's doing. Be better. Be better.
Yeah.
You know what? People are people, and we all make mistakes, and you can't just browbeat and backlash somebody who's just coming out of that situation to begin with. Like, are you going to give him a chance to repent or whatever it is you're looking for him to do for you? Because right now he's looking to do for himself. Like, it was just wrong timing. And I love Sam Shepard. I just hate that when he's an asshole in movies, So there's that.
Yeah.
Mara Winningham, I could take her or leave her most times. Of course, she's in St. Elmo's Fire. I loved her in that. She's in, so many other things. Her character in American Horror Story was twisted and sickening, so it's really hard to watch her now after that.
You're so good at names because, like, when you say Mare Wingham, I'm like, I knew who you meant because she's the mother in it, but I'm just like, if you had told me that, if somebody on the street I was having a conversation with and they said, oh, I love Mare Wingham and Brothers, they'd be like, who the hell is that?
Well, but see, I mean, I grew up with her being the Rat Pack, I mean, she was part of those guys. So Judd Nelson and Ali Sheedy and
those I know.
yeah. And she was part of that crew for me in my time.
Okay.
So she was, of course, she was in St. Elmo's Fire, like I said. What else was she in back then? My God, I don't even remember. Maybe Bright Lights, Big City.
Okay, I do own that because that's MVD Rewind Collection. Put that out.
I'm not positive on that one, but maybe. I don't know. She just seemed to be like an extra in a lot of things back then. So of course she was a staple to that kind of stuff. But no, I mean, she didn't really have a lot of lines or anything in this movie. She was just kind of a background character. the dad was more of the asshole, so he stood out a little more, which is Sam Shepard. But yeah, I mean, I again, I like Natalie Portman. She's really grown a lot as an actress, but I mean, but honestly, I mean, even if you go all the way back to Leon the Professional, she was putting her heart and soul into that as a little kid, you know.
So, confession, I have not seen Leon the Professional.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I might change up one of them on your list tonight then, though.
I think
'Cause
I
that's
even think,
definitely one you need to watch.
yeah, I think somebody recently put that on a list for me. Yes, they did. It's on somebody's list that I'll be
Okay,
doing.
well, I don't have to then, but
Yep, it'll be on there. So I'm excited to watch that because I own the 4K Steelbook. I got it out of print and a good price.
oh, yeah. And that's a fast moving one, you'll like it. I mean, there are a few little slow parts in it, but
And she was young in that too, wasn't she? Like her
she was
first role,
I want to tell you she was
13 or something.
10, 10, 11, 12 years old, something. I mean, she was young.
Yeah, she was a good child actor too.
Mm-hmm. And she pulls that off like nobody's business. But okay, so notes on brothers. Okay, first off, you find out he's prisoner of war, you know. So you as the watcher know he's at some point possibly coming home, but then you're watching what's going on at home. So you're already feeling bad for him because they're moving on. Their lives are moving on without him, you know. Not that that's what they expected or wanted, but
You have to, right? I mean,
you have to. I mean,
life continues. I mean, your bills got to get paid, and kids still grow up, and
that's it. Well, and then, you know, Tommy's doing his best to try to be a good man. And all he's really trying to do in the beginning is just be there for her. You know, the one little moment they had, I don't think either one of them really even wanted that moment to happen. It was just a comfort in the moment.
and he does such a good job with the kids being there for her, trying to help out.
Oh,
And yet
yeah.
the dad still cuts him down. Like, you know, he's like, "Oh, you did a good, like the cabinet." It's like, what the fuck? He can't
Yeah.
win.
Yeah. And all he's really trying to do is work through his own past, bring himself to where he wants to be a good man, like especially when he, he's fresh out of prison. Well, to go back and talk to the victim of his crime and seek some kind of repentance and forgiveness and apology, give this woman an apology. You can tell he's struggling with maturing out of whatever his situation was before. I mean, you don't really know what that is because they don't really tell you, but you see him trying to move forward with his life. And then, you get the news that your brother's dead in war. And, well, I mean, you've seen his reaction. He's throwing the keys at her like, what the hell? It's not what he wanted. He wanted to come back and build his family back up and be a brother and be a son. And, and his dad's cutting him down. And now his brother's supposedly dead in the war. And so he's trying to be there for the kids. And the kids absolutely love him. They love him so much. They're having fun with him. They're learning from him. They're, everything they would have missed out on with their dad being gone. And then he comes back. Well, when he comes back, like the horrific.
Do you want me to put spoilers up?
Sure.
Because I'm going to dive into spoilers when you're done, because I got a couple quotes that are spoilers, I guess. Spoilers alert.
I mean, the horrific events that happened while he was there. I mean, he's coming back with that on his conscience, and he's coming back. The reason why he did what he did was to get back to her and those girls. And then he comes back and he feels the unease being around the family again. And I feel like at some point he starts to resent the kids. He starts to resent her because he did this horrific shit to come back to them, to feel like he don't belong there. like he goes back to um, the captain or whoever, and is like, I'm ready to go back to Afghanistan. Yeah, and it's like he's so messed up over it that he can't enjoy what he does have.
Do you like Jake Gyllenhaal a lot?
I like Jake Gyllenhaal too. You know, I wouldn't put him up on top of my list, but I would say I haven't seen too many things of his that weren't for me.
Okay.
I do pretty much like most everything he's in.
I'm already got a Jake Gyllenhaal movie in mind for your next list. It just came to mind.
But yeah, I mean, I just felt like he come back and felt so out of place that I don't even know if counseling would have fixed that, you know, or anything. So, I mean, you again, you don't really know exactly how it's going to end for him, or any of that. But the hope is that he truly does get the help he needs, because I mean, they all just really want to be a family.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got to get that shit out of his mind. He's got to get past the things that he thought happened that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, like you said, it didn't happen.
And when he broke, when that stability just snapped, and he starts beating the cabinets and doing all that stuff, and then he ends up in the driveway and the cops are coming, and he puts that gun up to his head. I thought, oh my God, he's really going to do that in front of all, in front of her, in front of him. And they didn't do anything wrong. Like, all they really tried to do in that one moment was comfort each other.
Mm-hmm. It was just a kiss.
It was just a kiss. It was just one moment.
Mm-hmm. And they did think he was dead at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
dead. They didn't.
And they both immediately pulled away from each other and didn't do it again.
And my biggest thing is, like, because that was after they found out he was dead. It did not happen before.
Yeah.
It was completely after they found out he was dead.
Yeah, months had even gone by, it felt like, or at least a little time, because
and they were high on marijuana. So
right, I mean, a drink and a smoke together, and one kiss.
Yeah, exactly. So
they were both missing him.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even a thing like they needed each other for each other. They needed each other because of what they were missing from him. Like, she'd been with him, I mean, obviously long enough to have 2 kids. I think she said they got together when she was 16. This is his second or third time going to Afghanistan. So obviously somewhere in his 20s.
Yeah.
Mid to late 20s. So, I mean, she'd been with him for all these years. She loved him. And then
at the end,
his factor was he's his brother.
She says, I love you, but you have to give me something. Like, you have to open up. You have to open up. I can't keep doing this. Like, and then finally opens up to her.
Yeah, when he finally told her, I thought, okay, well, now the healing can start right there.
Yeah.
I wrote mouth and say the words.
One of the quotes was, I wrote, who is going to stand up and testify for you once you're dead, which I think is what the dad asks Jake Gyllenhaal's character. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a profound statement, because it's like, yeah, who is going to, I thought to myself, like, who's going to stand up and testify for you once you're dead? But there's 2 quotes at the end. Man, when he says, I'm drowning, Tommy.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much, that quote. It's just like, yeah, it's powerful. And then the ending, and this is how the movie literally ends with this, I believe, on this quote. He says, yeah, because it ends with this, like, the voiceover of it. I don't know who said only the dead have seen the end of war. I have seen the end of war. The question is, can I live again? Yeah. And just speaking to what you said of the healing can begin when he finally opens up and tells her those words. But it's like, yeah, the question is, can I live again?
Yeah.
Because he had done so much, obviously, to get back to her. He killed a man. And then to stand in front of that woman.
And not just a man, but one of his best friends.
That man's wife to stand in front of her, and you see him just standing in front of her with the kid and everything, and she's like
talking about her dream.
he was
And how
brave.
she woke
She's
up
like
hating him.
he was brave. I know that. I know he was brave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very that movie was pretty deep.
Yeah, this one's no joke. There's nothing funny about this movie. I mean, honestly, a couple of the other ones I have on your list aren't very funny either.
Ooh, right.
There's a couple more that are even just as powerful or more powerful than this one, I thought.
Yeah.
Which we'll see where it stands. But yeah. Do you want to dive into number 5?
Number 5.
Let me catch up with the chat really quick because I do have 24 chats. I usually do that. We got Corey here saying, "Sorry, I'm really late. Can't hang in the chat, but listening along on my drive." What's up, Corey? Chris is in the chat, Codebreaker. I ran into him. I was at Spirit Halloween today, and I ran into him, and I was like, "Dude, it's like, what's going on with you? He looked bigger, man." I was like, "You've been putting on some muscle, huh?" I was like, "You've been lifting?" He's like, "No." I was like, "You look like it," and he's like, "Nope, I don't go to the gym." I was like, "Damn, dude." I was like, "I lost my muscle. You found it." Let's see here. Don't uncage the beast, Bob. LOL. Tony is sitting on a lot of rage and anger. Johnny says, "Where is he now, Anthony?" LOL. Brothers, very good movie. 3.5 out of 5. Very solid list for movies so far, hopefully. I get this. I love this movie. I'm sitting on a power keg. Really liked Brothers. Got to rewatch it. He's doing local stand-up, trying to earn a nickel. Anthony says, Dane Cook and his joke stealing ass. Fuck him and his inability to come up with material. Right outside in a Burger King parking lot. Yeah, exactly. Anthony says, Nikki, Bob, your thoughts on the movie Casualties of War and give your rating on it. I haven't seen Casualties of War.
Is Casualties of War the Sean Penn one?
That was awesome.
I think it's in my watch list too. I'm not sure I've seen that one.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Leon the Professional.
Make sure you watch the theatrical cut of Leon the Professional, Bob. Will do. As long as it's on that steelbook, Anthony, as long as you can tell me that. Watch director's cut if you want to hate movies. Oh my goodness, that bad? Hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, Chris. What's up, Chris? Yo, Chris. I appreciate you telling me that because I probably, honestly, might have watched the director's cut. What's up, Corey? Good evening, Corey Wilkie. Yep. Yeah, all right. Number 6. Let's
Nope, we're on 5.
Number 5, I meant. Yes. Okay, what do we got here left? I'll wait. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 5 of your movies are in my top 100. The 5 left.
Okay.
They're the 5 that I absolutely love.
All right.
Very good, Nikki. Nicely done. You didn't rip me.
I didn't hurt your feelings a single bit tonight.
It could have gone better than it did. Really. I mean,
well, that's good. I expect a subpar list from you this time. No. All right. You ready for it?
Yep.
For the love of the game.
Ooh, okay. Number 5. All right. Oh, I got spoilers on the screen still. Let me take that
That's okay. Yeah, you'll move it.
Man, for love of the game, I love this freaking movie. Oh, it's Sam Raimi's best movie. Sorry, Evil Dead fans.
I mean, he's got a few good ones though. So
no, I would never actually argue with somebody that this is better than. This is nostalgic to me. I grew up watching this with my dad. This movie meant the world to me. And my dad loved baseball, played it when I was a kid, and oh my goodness. And there's a scene in this movie where he says, she's like, "Now you're mad," and he goes, "I'm not mad. I'm just pissed off." And I always tell people that all the time. And she goes, "That's not fair." I swear, anytime somebody says you're mad, and I'm like, "I'm not mad. I'm just pissed off." What would you give this? 3.5 or 4?
3.5.
All right, 3.5.
That's why I said it was really hard for me to do the ranking. That's why it took me all the way to today, because, well, and the fact that I own Brothers on DVD, so I waited on to watch it last. I didn't even know I had it until right about the time you gave me the list. I started scanning all my movies into Blu-ray.com. So I made my list that way. didn't realize I was back up over 1,100 movies, but because we have purged our collection almost completely at one time. So we've been rebuilding, and then I inherited, I don't know, maybe 60 or 80 movies from my mom when she passed away. So it was in one of hers. So I didn't even realize that I had it until I was scanning them all in. But yeah, so other than watching Brothers just the one time and watching it today, I watched For the Love of the Game 3 times.
Oh, you watched this one 3 times.
I watched this one 3 times.
Is there any
and I also watched Field of Dreams twice while I watched this one 3 times, like back to back.
Oh, nice. Is there any other on the top list that you watched more than twice, or no, just twice?
One of them I watched 4 times.
Okay, all right, we'll get to it. We'll get to it in a little bit. All right, so
my number 2 one I watched 4 times.
The number 2, okay, the number 2 on the list.
And I probably would have watched the number 1 more than twice. Only I watched it just the day before yesterday, and I've already watched it twice. Because when I told you the other night I still had 2 to watch, it was the one that is number 1 and this one, and Brothers. Those were the last 2 I got to watch.
Okay, I'm telling you, I'm happy right now because Tony made me very happy too when he did my list because he didn't hate any of them either. So this is going well. And don't get me wrong, I don't mind if somebody sits there and berates a movie. That's the difference in opinions. I won't even get.
No, but it just shows me that you've been paying attention to what I like and don't like.
I think giving you when you gave the recommendation. The recommendations helped me to understand what you were into, like discussing that, you know. And at the end, I don't want to recommend movies that people don't like. The way I see it is, if I'm recommending a movie that you hate, somebody out there might like it, and I could have recommended it to them instead of you. You know what I mean? So I feel like I wasted a recommendation in a way because I could have given it to somebody that might like it and giving you something you might have liked even more. So I actually really take these serious because I love movies and I don't want to waste people's time.
Right. Exactly.
So, but go ahead. For Love of the Game, I could talk about this one for a long time. And it's not even my number 1. There's one that's in my top 10 of all time, top 15, top 10. So,
well, I obviously love Kevin Costner. I love Kelly Preston. I, however, didn't like her in this. Again, this was another one where I didn't like.
She's a little
the woman's character.
She's a little naggy in this one. She's not the greatest in the world, but
the first thing you find out is she's about to leave him, and I'm like, you lousy bitch. I mean, I wrote it down, lousy bitch. I mean, it just made me mad, you know. It's like, why don't women support men? And I don't know. I just felt like in both the Costner movies you gave me, he didn't have the supporting woman.
See, this is why I like having you on the channel a ton because you're so old school, and so like you don't say what a lot of young women today in their 20s or teens say, and that I think that's why it's so hard to date today because it's just women and women and men seem to hate each other nowadays, and I'm like, why? I've never hated women.
Right. I mean, and again, you it's so hard to find people you're even remotely compatible with in this world nowadays. If you find somebody, work at it, stay together, be a partner, and support a man being a man. That's, I don't understand. So anyway, okay. John C. Reilly and J.K. Simmons are 2 of my absolutely favorite ones out there. I love J.K. Simmons. You can give me anything to watch with him in it. He's great.
Such a good actor. You seen Whiplash? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen Oz?
No.
Oh. Well, you want to talk about a dirty, rotten scoundrel. Now he plays a character in that show. Whew.
Oz? Oh, the show?
It's a TV show. It was made for HBO. It's rated R, rated X. It could be any of the above. It's a prison show.
Okay.
And it's hardcore. And his character in that, he is the leader of the Nazis in that. And wow, is he crazy in that show. But yeah, that's where I discovered J.K. Simmons. I mean, I knew who he was before that, but that's where I discovered his acting ability to be my cup of tea. But Okay, let's see. I love when John C. Riley and him are giving each other banter. Kevin Costner, when he tells him, um, when he's giving him shit in the beginning of it, and he goes, "Oh, okay, I have the ugliest wife in the league," and because he's trying to tell him how to live his life, and he's like, oh. I just love the way them two, their timing together is good. I wish they did more things together because I like John C. Riley.
They had really good chemistry as a batter mate, kid pitcher and
Yeah,
pitcher, so
yeah,
battery mate. But yeah, I thought I'm just making sure. I didn't write any notes on this one. See, I got so wrapped up in some of these movies because sometimes you love the movie and I forget to take damn notes because it's a rewatch. So
right, right. Well, and that's another reason why I like to watch them twice, is so that I can make sure I have notes on the parts that I want to talk about. But I mean, and I'm not a good note taker, so. But yeah, when Gus gives him the pep talk on the mound, that we're just going to be awesome for you today, so just throw, and
we don't suck right now.
yeah, we don't suck right now. I just, that's a good friend. He knew the struggle he was out there having, and to look up and see zeros across that board, and he's like, okay, now I can panic because we're at the end. And what if I, screw this all up and everything? And then his buddy just walks up to him and is like, no, we got your back.
Yeah.
And he's right. Cause even though somebody finally gets a hit on him, it's a little bunt and, but the team came through.
Yeah.
Still got him out. It was still a big O zero on the board,
Oh, I love this.
It starts out with them telling him they're going to sell the team and trade him off and do all this and all that. So they're already, beating him down. And then at the point where I said, called her a lousy bitch, was right after he found out all that. And then she's like, no, I'm just going to leave and go to London for a job. It's like, what?
I'm going to put spoilers up because I know we're starting to talk spoilers here. So spoilers for Love of the Game for anyone that hasn't seen this. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of people that have seen this one in the chat. There's only 3, technically 4, Johnny. Costner baseball movies. 4. He actually, in that reel you sent me today, his first movie ever made was a baseball movie. It's like from '82. It's his very first movie he ever made, but nobody ever talks about that. So he only talks about 3 baseball movies he did, but he did do that one. But go ahead, continue to go.
The other one's Bull Durham, so.
Yeah, Bull Durham, For Love of the Game, Field of Dreams, and then he did another one in 1982 that was not, his first movie.
I mean, well, everybody's got to start somewhere.
We got to start somewhere, right? I hope he doesn't deny it, like some actors do. I always bums me out when I hear people say, "No, I don't count that." I'm just like, "Hey, man, we had to start somewhere." I'm like, "Why do people disown their first movie?" I'm like, "What the fuck?"
I know that always kills me when they talk about the remake of the remake of Texas Chainsaw with Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger.
Oh,
they don't even want to talk about that movie at all. But I mean, you made it. It's out there. We all own it.
Yeah, Next Generation. Yeah, with the cross-dressing Leatherface or whatever. No, I agree. Absolutely, man. I always wonder, like, if I brought a Blu-ray of that movie, would they sign it if I ever met them? Or would they be like, nah, I'm good. I'm too good.
Right.
So I'd like to think I like Matthew McConaughey, so I don't want to think that. I don't like Renee Zellweger.
Yeah, I love Matthew McConaughey. You probably can't go wrong sending me one of his movies either. So
okay, good to know.
I could watch him shave.
You said Matthew McConaughey, and who else you like?
I don't know who else did I say earlier. I don't remember now.
You said you could watch. Well, I know there was a couple you said. I mean, you like Kevin Costner as well. So
I do like Kevin Costner.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good old 80s. Go ahead. We got off topic on this one.
No, it's fine. I like his discipline in the game in this. I understand why it's called For the Love of the Game, because you are learning why he loves this game every step of his going into this, what they're going to make him, forceful retirement, and he really doesn't want to. He doesn't want to step away from it. He wants to stay with this game. He loves it, but it's like every step that he's trying to take forward, and I mean, he's doing great. Like, he's getting up against these other rival guys that have been after him for years, and he's this whole season he's doing an amazing job of pitching great games, and they just keep on talking about getting rid of him. It's like, that, and I love it when they tell him, or what was that even in the other one? It might have even been in the other one when she tells him that, age is earned. It's not, a punishment. It's earned. That might have actually been in the other Kevin Costner movie when he's talking to Maggie, I think. But it kind of applies to this too. It's like, yeah, you might be aging out, but you've earned every bit of recognition you've had. You've had a great run, I mean, but it's a smack in the face, and you can see
that almost sounds like Bull Durham. Susan Sarandon. That almost sounds like when she's talking to him.
Well, no, I mean, in The Guardian when he's in the bar and she's,
but that almost sounds like
retire in there, and Maggie tells him that aging is earned. I really feel like that applies to this character in For the Love of the Game too, because they're trying to boot him out.
That quote you gave almost sounded like Bull Durham in a way too.
It kind of does, yeah. When she's giving him the pep talk, yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love Bull Durham. Oh,
yeah, and I love Susan Sarandon. I mean,
when he tells her, he's like, I believe in 6 things. I believe in the wet kisses.
Yeah.
He's like, I believe in the cock, the vagina, and he's just like naming all these things. And I was just like, bro, that's amazing. That whole scene is just incredible. The guy, Tim Robbins, is just like, what? Old school, baby. That's old school.
Yeah.
Long wet kisses, he says. Oh, funny stuff. But yes. Do you like how, so I'm usually not a fan of movies where they bounce back and forth on stories. This worked in every way, shape, and form for me. And you can see why this would work, because it couldn't work any other way.
Well, yeah. I was going to say you kind of had to, because you don't want to spoil things before, like, when I called her a lousy bitch for wanting to leave, I thought that there was like way more time in between where they meet at the car on the highway and where she tells him she's leaving. I thought there was like years there. I didn't realize it was, a shorter time period. I thought over this amount of time that we didn't see anything, I thought, okay, so they've been together for years and this and that and this and that. Then you find out they haven't been together very long. She hasn't told him about the fact she has a daughter. None of that. It's like,
from when they meet to when he's pitching that game, it's probably 2 or 3 years tops.
When she's leaving, at the airport, all that, yeah.
Days pitching the game, which is the next day she's at the. Well, yeah, I mean that's the same day he pitches that game. That's why, he's got so much stuff going on. But yeah, it's probably a good 1 to 3 years, 2 to 3 years tops. Over the course of his 15, 16 year or 19-year career, they say in the movie, I believe he had 19 years. So, so he was towards the tail end of his career when they met.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I just was like, I just felt like he was unsupported, from her anyway. But I don't know. And like I said, I thought that there was a longer time span.
There's one movie
by the time they reveal that, but then you don't realize that that's not really even happening till the end of the story.
There's one movie on your list, though. I feel like the wife was very supportive, right? I mean, we'll get into it at the end because I feel like it's going to be high on your list. But I know there's one where I was like, she's supportive. You're like, nope, I'm looking.
I mean, where's my other page? Oh, wait a minute. There it is. Hold on.
There's one movie on this list. I'll get it when you come across that movie. I'll be like, this is the one where the wife's supportive. I'll say it.
Yeah. And well, I mean, yeah. Okay. We'll get there in a minute. But no, Yeah, I mean, and then but then at the end when you find out she really doesn't get on the plane, she really doesn't go, she's gonna go
Mhm.
back to him and everything, you're like, yes, finally she's finally gonna go, be with him and everything. But by then he's already knowing he's retired, he's gonna quit the game, she doesn't have to stay through all that. And I don't know. When
I
she thought when she thought maybe he'd keep going, she was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then he was willing to retire, and he's just quiet. He doesn't. He's like no questions. It's like
Yeah.
you gotta like give me some space here. You're both asking. If I was dead, if I was in a coma, he's like, she's asking all these questions, and he's just like, no questions for once.
Yeah.
Like, give me some space for a minute, And I get that. I get that kind of a character. I'm a talker, but I need some space every once in a while.
Yeah. I like to go in my room and close the door sometimes.
Yes.
All by myself. It's
See,
okay.
this movie works on every level because I grew up watching this. That's why, like, this one's really near and dear to my heart. And that's why when people say, like, because I know this isn't a universally loved movie. Some of the movie we're going to get into later on that I love, most people like. This movie's not very loved out there at all. And I love it, and it's really near and dear to my heart because of my relationship with my dad and growing up with baseball and everything. So if people really want to shit on this movie, or when even worse, when somebody tells you like that movie sucks, why is that? Like, how is that one of your favorite movies of all time? It's like you don't know the story. You know what I mean? And it's like, don't knock something just because you don't like it. You don't know what that movie means to somebody. And this movie means a lot to me. Grew up playing baseball with my dad. Like, he was a coach and one of the managers, but in Little League, they called them coaches. And so I grew up playing baseball my whole life. And I watched this movie with my dad as a kid, and he showed me it. And it's almost 2.5 hours long. It's really long, but I love this movie. It still holds up for me. I mean, it's so nostalgic too.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a long movie if it's something that you're interested in knowing how the story turns out. I mean, that's truly all that matters. I mean, Gone with the Wind's what, 4 hours long? I mean, something like that, maybe even a little longer. I don't remember for sure, but I mean, I've watched Gone with the Wind probably 10 times in my life all the way through. It's worth to sit through. It's good.
Yeah, no, if something's good, 100%. I'm gonna take spoilers off the screen if that's okay with you. Kind of already did. Sorry, I'm a little premature on that one. Like it's what's okay. Okay, so Raimi's best movie and laughing emoji. For Love of the Game, good movie, 3 out of 5. Thank you, Sydney. I like to tease people on that. Bonesaw does not approve about the Sam Raimi best movie comment. Laren says I worship Raimi and wasn't a fan, but I've only seen it once. For Love of the Game would be my second favorite Costner baseball movie. I'm gonna say his number one is Bull Durham, but it could be Field of Dreams. Laren the Legend, a fan, Johnny and Mizzy. Hey Chef, how have you been? Chef, all good, mate. I do love as I'm going through the chat, like, what's up, Jeff? How are you, man? I love how in that reel you sent me, he says, like, he's like, I didn't want to pass up that role because I felt like I could add to that character. And it's just like, I love that.
Yeah.
Johnny says, Nikki, you just rocking back in her chair, you lousy bitch.
I want women to be strong women, man.
Hey,
Like,
man. Great show, Oz.
there's too many people alone in this world right now just because people are weak nowadays.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like I said, I feel like they like black and white. It's almost, I always tell Mizzy, I said, I just feel like they want us in a race war. And I said, and I feel like they want, and they want men and women against each other too.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's planted in the media that race is bigger than it really is. Because, I mean, I got 4 or 5 biracial grandchildren out there, so I don't have anything against.
And there's differences between men and women, racial things. I get that, but we don't have to hate each other. Like,
and here's the thing:
differences, sure, but yeah, I mean,
we touched a tiny bit on religion last time we talked. My thing is I don't care which religion you believe in, because if you really get to the heart of what 80% of religious beliefs are, it's be kind to one another. Like, that's the premise of it all. Let's just get along.
I've read the entire Bible, especially the New Testament, a ton. And at the end of the day, so when people are really hating and they have a lot of hatred in their heart, whether it's for gay or racial or men or women or whatever it is, okay? And I once again get the differences. We all have opinions. However, like the Bible teaches us to love. Like at the end
That's
of the day,
right.
we're supposed to love. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest takeaway I take is like love one another. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the most important in my opinion. So I don't know why we have so much hatred out there in today's world, you know, and I feel like social media doesn't help that.
And I think most of it's just it's because we think it's bigger than it is because that's the only thing that they really put on, display is all the hateful shit that's going on in this world. They
100.
don't put on display kindness and happiness and,
No,
and I mean,
drama and negativity.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, which is
And
what we're
shovel it full every time they put it out in front of you. Just shovel it full.
doing. Yeah, no, for
It's
sure. And
horrible.
then movies like, not to get back into this, but when you make a movie where you're like, your message essentially comes off as all men are rapists and they're bad, it's like,
Mhm.
here we are, we got it in Hollywood, like all men are rapists. Okay, this isn't helping matters. And then
Yeah.
you're on Letterboxd, you're reading, and women are like, if a man doesn't like this movie, I don't trust him. Like one of the comments about that one movie I saw, but directed by Zoe Kravitz, was one of the women said, if men could get away with this, they would. And I was just like, this is what I mean. Like women hate men
Yeah.
today, and men hate women. It seems like, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, not all men are rapists. And then when you say that, they get mad at you, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, what the hell? Not all men are bad people.
No.
So,
No.
but
Not at all.
anyways, Jim says all good, and I know Kelly Preston's character was a little flaky and for love of the game, but it still hits me in the feels every time I watch it.
Yeah.
Agreed. The TV series Oz is great. A lot of people in that show, Nicholas says. We've got Laren saying, Bob, should I have grabbed the Horizon Steelbook today at Walmart? Yes, you should have. And look at that. Yeah, Laren. Helen says, wow, Walmart had it in stores on release day. Surprising. Yeah, I fucked up. You did, Laren, but you could go back and get it. They refused to sign and talk about the movie because I guess the studio sat on it till they became famous, then released it, which is what I've heard about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, clear the mechanism, Bob. That's for love of the game. And he's like, clear.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things he says,
Yeah, because you said that. You love how he's so disciplined out there.
Yeah.
He has his things. Yeah. Billy Chappell was a workhorse on that mound. Yes, sir. I love that Jim loves that movie too. It means a lot. When I hear people say I liked or loved for love of the game, you gained a huge spot in my heart because not too many people say that. So yeah, that's a movie where I would like, yeah, it'd be cool for like my friends to see it, but it's something I would never recommend to like a Mizzy, for example, because he doesn't really like a lot of romance in his movies.
Yeah.
And at the core of that movie, it's kind of a love story. So
And it is, but
it's a lot of baseball.
I worried it was going to be a sour love story from the beginning, and I was real leery about that, but she
Ooh, okay.
pulled through at the end for me,
Yep. The Steelbook wasn't even sent yet for Horizon. Tony got his yesterday. All right, so that is number 5, which I'm happy about because once again 3.5 stars. Where is number 4? Okay, here we go. Brand. All right. Whenever you're ready, if you're ready to move on.
Yeah, we can do one more, and then I might have to take a potty break.
No problem.
Okay. Number 4 is Warrior.
Oh, this is the one where she's supportive. I felt like the wife's supportive
Yeah,
in this one.
she really was. Even though she had asked him not to do it.
Yeah, because she
She's
was
like,
worried.
okay,
They pound
you're
each
doing
other.
what you have to do for being a man,
They pound the shit out of each other's brains. She was so worried. But oh man, I really thought this would be higher on your list. I'm kind of surprised by this one. But
well, I've watched this one 3 times.
what is it? Number 3.5 or 4?
It's a 3.5.
Okay, all right. I'll
However, it's probably a very high 3.5.
All right, okay. This is the one where I was like, look, this is in my top 15 of all time, but this is one where people can't go, oh, that movie sucks. Like
No, this movie doesn't suck in any corner.
Nobody says that about Warrior.
First, you did right with Nick Nolte. Okay, no, right up front, I love Nick Nolte.
Nolte's so good. Is he ever
on
not?
my list for you? There's a Nick Nolte movie that I truly hope you watch and love. But so when I give you your list here in a little while, there's a Nick Nolte movie on there that, whew, But I love Nick Nolte.
Very. Yeah.
I love Tom Hardy, so that helped out a lot. Um, Joel Egerton, very good, very good. That's not the one we're talking about, Bob.
Wait. Oh yeah. Hold on. Give me a second here. I gotta spell it right here. Warrior. There we go. Jeez, I can't spell right. I can't. Whatever. Go on.
Okay.
When I put it up, I got the wrong movie up.
Okay, so no, you put the right picture up.
I did do that, but I didn't put the
Yeah.
right now discussing tab.
No, you didn't. Okay, so you just gave away the rest of the damn stream, whatever else. Okay.
One left on there that's not
That they didn't see yet.
Yeah, they might
Okay.
not even know, or they weren't paying attention. So we'll be good.
Right.
I've done it before where I put up number. I think it was with Ashley, and I was talking about it, and all of a sudden I started talking about like my number before we started the stream. I mentioned like 2 movies. And I don't think anybody paid attention.
Well, you've mentioned almost every one of these movies in one of your live streams or the other since you gave me this list.
Probably, yeah.
You've mentioned a lot of them. So.
These are ones I talk about all the time for sure. Movies I did, but nobody was paying attention, Mizzy. Don't worry, and they don't even know the movies. So, what's that?
Okay, so Warrior, Nick Nolte, Tom Hardy, Joel Egerton.
Do you like Tom Hardy and Joel Egerton?
Huh?
Do you like Tom Hardy and Joel
I
Egerton?
do.
Okay.
I do. And again, there's Kevin Dunn as the principal. There was him again in this one.
Not as douchey in this, though. He's not a douche in this, really.
No. He really wants to, help him out in this. So, but I thought it was funny, you find out pretty much right away that he's lying to his wife. I'm like, lying to your wife never turns out to be a good thing. But when he comes clean with her and everything, you're right. She has his back, and she's just like, this isn't you. You only have to do this for a short time. So she knew he had to do what he had to do. So
exactly. As a man, I always think about that. Like you got to do what you got to do to feed the kids. He's got 2 kids, right? 2 daughters.
That's it.
Like this is the one I haven't rewatched since 2022, but I've seen this plenty. And this one also has a ton of nostalgia. I took my dad on his bachelor party on his second marriage. He's not a drinker, neither am I. So we don't party, no strip clubs, nothing like that. So for his bachelor party, like he just wanted a regular. So we went mini golfing and we went to go see Warrior and a couple other things, dinner and stuff. And we both walked out of the theater saying this was one of our favorite movies of all time. So
it's a good one. It really is. Like I wasn't
that father-son aspect, like seeing this with my dad was so cool because Nick Nolte, Tom Hardy, and everything. And my dad struggled with alcohol when he was in his 20s, been sober for so long, and then I did, and now I'm sober. So this movie hits on like every emotional beat for me in every shape, and form. It just. Yeah. But when you're struggling to pay the bills and everything like that, and I get it as a man, like I'm gonna do what I have to do to provide, and we've seen that in a couple movies that even like Mizzy last week recommending Dead Presidents. Like all of a sudden, like you start to result to things that you shouldn't be, and you're not proud of doing because you're just like, I got kids to feed, I got a daughter, like I have a wife, I don't want to lose her, and I got to make money.
Yeah. And at least he was trying to do it in a legit fashion. He wasn't out being a criminal to get it, So, I mean, even though, they were frowning on it because, you're supposed to be coming into school as a teacher, being presentable without black eyes and busted lips and, all that shit. But he still was not out doing anything criminal activity wise. Which usually when you're hard up for money, that's the first place people go. And he's just like, nope, I'm just going to go whoop some ass and make some money, And he was good at it, so that was helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this one, you could put spoilers up anytime you want to, because I can talk about all the spoiling stuff.
Go right ahead. I got spoilers up for Warrior.
The just the losing their mom and both of them feeling like they've been abandoned by their dad, and to see that even though Tommy seems like his life is a whole lot more messed up, he still wants to be upright and go to his dad and ask for the help he needs. Now he gives him a small leash with it, but they have a lot of family struggle, and it's deep. Like it's very deep. And I one of the things I wrote down was is it on this one? I think it was on this one. Family forgiveness is hard, but begging for it is hard too. So when the dad comes to him at the end and is begging for his forgiveness and just give me that little bit, it's like being as where I've seen the things I struggle with in my life. When you have to go to somebody and ask for forgiveness or something like that, it's just as hard for the person asking for it, because you've obviously tried to come through whatever it was, whether, in his case, it's the alcoholism and the losing of the kids and the wife and everything, but the kids felt abandoned and abused by him. So when he comes back and he's like, I'm 1,000 days sober and I just want my sons back, they each approach him differently because they were both affected differently. And I think they really showed that in a way I wasn't expecting, honestly, because I think it was a little deeper than I've seen either one of them two guys play. As far as like, you think you're going in to just watch a couple brothers, duke it out, which you do end up getting to see that, but the dynamic of the family struggle and the forgiveness and the need to have each other, because they've already lost their mom. So
you'll never see Tom Hardy play a role like he was
yeah,
so powerful in this too.
yeah, I agree. And my struggle with alcohol in my past made me feel so much for Nick Nolte in that moment when he's standing there on the street, just like, please, I just want my son back. And he's like, oh, you got him. And he's like, I want you. And just, oh, it was just heart-wrenching, And I'm glad that I stopped drinking before my kids were old enough to understand that that's who I was at that point. Like, my kids don't have memory of it. My kids have seen me drunk one time. And I mean, I think Jeff was 16 when that happened. And it was like, it wasn't a relapse moment. It was, I went and had a few drinks with my brother and I had one too many and I hadn't drank in years and years. And I learned real quick I didn't want to go back to drinking, but my kids have only seen me drunk one time and I didn't abuse them, during that one time, So it's like, for their memories, I'm so grateful that I quit drinking when I did and I didn't inflict on somebody else what he inflicted on them. It's not something I wanted to have to heal a whole family from. I already had to heal me. So,
and speaking of alcohol and addiction in general, Mizzy and I were actually just having a really nice conversation about this yesterday, because we talk about, like, when I went to Celebrate Recovery, one of the biggest things as a younger guy, I was 23, 24, 25 when I was in recovery, and I'm there with 50-year-old men, 60-year-old men. And you're seeing grown men in their 50s cry in front of you and talk about just breaking down. I mean, guys praying over each other and stuff like that. And so for me, we always talked about, and I've seen it in movies where it's like, it ends here. I need to break this curse now, because my dad was an addict. I'm an addict. Like, and I don't have kids and I don't know if I ever will, but I knew I wanted to break that chain, because I didn't want my kids to struggle with the same thing that I did and my dad did and my dad's dad did and so on and so forth. And my
grandfather had a brewmeister in the dining room. I mean, there was a keg, ice cold, 24/7, sitting right in the dining room, constant.
And where that
it's how we grew up.
It's genetic. Like, I don't know if it's in the brain. Like, I'd never studied it, but I know that, to me, the term it's genetic is like how you can see when you see it, like you said, almost you see they're bringing alcohol in the house, cocaine in the house, whatever it is. And I feel like that sometimes, you know what I mean? But I feel like if you could break it before your son or daughter is born, oftentimes you can break that chain.
Yeah.
So like in the movie, it ends with us, and this is a spoiler for that movie, but like she's just talking about it ends here. Like it ends now. Like we're not. My mother was abused. I was abused. I'm not going to let my kids be
Yeah.
abused. Like it's going to stop now.
Yeah.
Because I
I
feel like you just become, I don't know, as a kid, you see it, you're around it so much. I would never wanted to drink or do any drugs because, oh, my dad didn't. And then as soon as I found out he did, once again, people could sit here and be like, why are you snitching on your dad? My dad would get on and share this story. It's not
right.
something to think. But I remember the first time I found out my dad did coke. I was 15, and that's what kind of split my parents up, the big reason they got a divorce. And I remember talking to my dad, and and it broke his heart. And he just remembered being so grateful because I remember telling him, I said, why didn't you ever tell me? I would have loved to do it with you. And I just remember it just broke his heart when he heard that. He was so grateful I never found out
Yeah.
because of that. Because I was around in high school, I was the guy around drugs all the time and alcohol and stuff. And I was just like, no, my dad doesn't do it. I don't want to. I was like, always everything my dad did, I wanted to do. And so thinking my dad didn't do coke, I would have thought it was the coolest thing to do
You
coke.
were able to say no very easily.
Yeah. So if I had known, and he was always grateful, I never found out. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where once you've seen it go on, like my dad quit drinking when we were very young. He had a health issue that had him to quit drinking. And so we were lucky that what we saw was very early on, and he was better when we were a little bit older. So we didn't have to live through, but he wasn't abusive when he drank anyway. So that's not what we saw. So, and I want to say that, when I started drinking, it was because I was just an unsupervised kid, didn't really have anybody telling me no. Like my mom and dad would have told me no if they'd have known. Like the few times that they found out, they were just like, "Oh no, we can't have this," and then I'd be punished for however long it took to build the trust back up, and then I'm right back out with my friends doing what I want to do. They worked a lot. We were latchkey kids. We did whatever we wanted to do, and it was just one of those things where my kids had to be born, and I had to be under the mindset that I no longer wanted to be the one hurting feelings and acting like a fool, which, I mean, not that I was a horrible, mean drunk or anything like that, but I sure could slash a feeling. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then it just dawned on me, at one point when my husband looked at me and said, "You just think you're real funny, don't you?" And then I realized what I had said and done, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to do that to people. So yeah.
You
And
Do you mind if was it like you said something that hurt your husband?
well, the person that's the drinker when nobody else in the room is drinking thinks they're funny.
Right.
And, just in a passing comment, I hurt his feelings. But I didn't realize I had done it until, everybody left and he wasn't going to embarrass me. He just said, "Hey, you think you're funny? That was hurtful." And so it took me, a little while to really grasp what he meant by that. And I'm just like, yeah, that ain't who I want to be. I love this man. Like I want him in my life. I want to be what he needs me to be, and I can't do that sloshy drunk on the couch. I've got to be a better person than that. So
And I love that your husband came to you instead of was passive aggressive or called you out in front of people. Like that's what adults need to do.
yeah.
In obviously you're adults, but like we see so many relationships where people don't do that. They
Oh, well, I mean, we have conversations that people look at us and go, wow, because we do say what we feel most of the time, just any given moment. But we also know what the other one can take and can't take nowadays. So it's just who we are. We just don't let it bother us what other people think of us because,
yeah.
we have an odd relationship as it is. I mean, obviously we're strong after all these years, but it's like people don't really understand. But you have to be willing to take it on the chin once in a while from the person you love, because sometimes you got to own your responsibilities and things you say and do.
Uh-huh.
And when I was a drinker, I didn't take responsibilities for the things I said and did. I just did it.
I don't think too many of us do when we're in our addiction when we're drinking, at least.
Mhm. But, like I said, and I try to do my best nowadays just not to hurt somebody when I'm speaking to them. And if I have something to say to you that I know is going to hurt your feelings, you're going to know it ahead of time because I'm coming to you with tears in my eyes already because I'm already upset that I have to say something that's going to hurt someone. But some things just have to be said. So I might be upset when I speak about it.
Yes, I that's exactly it. Look, tough love. I mean, I have friends and I've told them like, hey man, I say this because I love you. This is coming from a place of love, not attacking you or anything like that. Don't feel that way. This is coming from, hey, I want to see better. I care
Right.
about you and I want to see improvement. Like that's what it comes down to. And I feel like sometimes people feel like they're being attacked, but it's not. You know what I mean? I think kids can feel that way, including myself sometimes,
Especially now.
where
Especially.
yes. And I think even yeah, when I was younger, sometimes even me, like I'll give the tough love, but even sometimes I feel like, and that's where I have to sit back. So I do this because oftentimes somebody will come to me and say, hey, like whether it's you're being an asshole. And if somebody calls you an asshole, then maybe you're being an asshole, okay?
Right.
And or whatever they might say to me, and they'll come to me and let me know something that's like oftentimes I have to keep my mouth shut, be that slow to speak, slow to slow to speak, or yeah, slow to speak, slow to and quick to listen. And so oftentimes I have to do that because I'll react in the moment. I'm upset, I feel attacked, I feel like
Yeah.
where's this coming from, why did they say this,
When you get that feeling is when you know there's a piece in there you got to own because there's a little guilt in that
I got
feeling.
to defend myself, I feel.
Yeah.
And so I sit back, and sometimes it's a day or 2 days, and I'll be like, you know what? I'll sit back and I'll be driving, whatever it is, where I get to think, and I'm like, that hurt because it's true. Oftentimes,
Yeah.
or something like that. I'm like, man, they were for one, somebody like let's just use Tony for an example. I'd be like, for one, Tony's not going to say something that's hurtful. If it is, it's sarcasm. But if he's saying something that he means, he's coming from a place of love because he
Right.
cares. It's not going to come from a place of, hey, he's trying to cut me down. He's saying it because I need to
Because
hear
he's
it.
never going to intentionally hurt someone. Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's where it's like I've had that happen with Tony before, where I was like, I felt hurt. And then he was hurt because he said it. And I spoke with him the next day and I was like, Tony, I appreciate you saying it. I didn't understand it last night, but I appreciate you telling me something that was hard for you to say, but I needed to hear. And in
Right.
that moment, I didn't like it. I was hurt. I was bothered, blah, blah, blah. I was sensitive about it. But it's like, that's where dwelling, or not dwelling, but like taking the time to think about it and ponder it and be like, okay, where was he coming from? And I
Right.
realized
Because, especially, if somebody cares about you, they had a reason or they would have
yeah,
just kept it to themselves.
exactly. And that's why I love, and I get the whole all about just titties and whatever else on this channel and blah blah blah. This is the kind of conversations I like talking about more than anything, though. I like having real life conversations. I'm all for sarcasm and having fun and joking around, but like I want to have deep, meaningful conversations. And that's the relationships I want to form over Instagram and social media, not just talking movies. That's fun, but I
But
want to
it's
go
movies
deep.
like this that can open things up like this conversation because
Exactly.
it's a deep, deep subject matter. I
It's,
mean,
and it's yeah, the movie
and
is
each character feels it in a deep way, and as you're learning their character and you're learning why they're feeling the way they are, it's like, ooh, it makes it more personable, it makes it more realistic. It's like this shit can really happen. This is how people really feel, and this is how you really affect one another in a space of a family.
mm-hmm. I didn't realize either. Like, there's one on your list and you haven't named it yet. I knew that one you were gonna like. I just knew it because
Mm.
mother-son relationship. But yeah, I mean, you just it when it comes to movies, like listen, you can just listen to people and you'll find out what they like. Give people what they want to see, what they're going to like. Not
Right.
everything's going to work. That happens. That's life. Okay. But I love doing these because I love coming across a movie like an Officer and a Gentleman, all the things we lost in the fire that Mizzy recommended. That almost like, and I'm not somebody who breaks down in front of people. I do not do that. I got really choked up and emotional talking about all things we lost in the fire
Yeah.
last week with Mizzy, and that's not something I'm up for doing. Like I don't do that, but when it just how much it meant to me. It did that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of how I feel about the movie that's the number one for me tonight, because that subject matter is really tough. So for a mother and a drunk, So that probably told you what your number one is tonight. But yeah, that was the toughest watch on here for me.
Okay, I think I know, and if that's the one, I'm very happy about that. So
Yeah. But yeah, so with this one, it was the forgiveness that needed to happen, not only between the kids and the dad, but between each other. When they're in that ring at the end, and he's trying to get Tommy to tap out. I mean, you already know that Tommy's weakening enough that you see it coming. He's going to do it, but it wasn't a strength. It wasn't about the strength when he tapped out on him. It was about the owning his part of his shit in that moment. He had to let his brother. He just had to let that happen that way in order for him to move on, in order for him to forgive his brother, in order for him to forgive his father. He had to take the loss. And you see that break in him in that last second before he taps out. Oh, it's great.
Oh my goodness. And he's like, I love you, Tommy.
Yeah.
I love you, Tommy. Oh. Yeah, Tommy. His brother was Tommy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tommy's the break that I was like, because he comes into it, and the first thing I wrote down about him is what a douchebag, because he's acting like a jerk from the moment he comes in. But and you see that Brendan's character is about his wife and his kids and what he has to do, and he has to have this extra money. He's got to save his house. He's got to put food on the table and provide and do all this. And so his is coming from a different place until he has to get in the ring with his brother. Mm-hmm. And then it's coming from the place where the challenge has to happen. Like it has to happen the way it happens. And, I don't know. And then you finally feel good for Tommy. He has such a struggle. Like he's also coming back from a war with trauma, and not only does he have the family trauma, but he's got the war trauma, and he's got the he saved them people, but some people he couldn't save. And so and so now and then when his dad, oh my God, when he goes to his dad and he asks his dad to train him, and he's like, give me all the pills out of your pocket, and he literally says to him, the third pill bottle too, he's like, you got to give me that one too. I heard it when you were walking through the door, and he knew exactly how many bottles of pills he had on him. And I'm thinking, okay, so this kid ain't just an alcoholic. He's a pillhead too. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got all this trauma. He's got all this, weight on him. And it was good to watch it chip away. Like I felt like all that had to happen for him to have that break at the end. And that's the moment the healing can begin, is when he finally taps out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know you got to use the washroom, and I'm actually trying to figure out, just everybody in the chat. My last comment is Mizzy's Bob spoiled the movie. Oh, I just got a new one. Bob, Nikki, Nightcrawler, your thoughts and ratings on the movie. I loved Nightcrawler. Ashley recommended that one to me.
I don't think I've seen Nightcrawler.
Okay, that's Jake Gyllenhaal. But I don't know if comments are coming across. I'm going to take spoilers off the screen for right now. Okay. I also loved Frank Grillo in this, by the way. He's really good. Yes. But yeah, my comments, I don't know if they're coming across now, but I can't get on YouTube for some reason. So I know sometimes this has happened to me once before where I can't read the chat. So
well, my chat is still way back at the beginning. So
okay,
let me see if I can get it to come up in it. Okay, there we go. Nightcrawler is okay, so it's caught up now. But the last one it was showing me on my phone was way back when they were asking Joe if he was still feeling any better. So that was way at the beginning. So
Okay, yeah, I'll try and figure it out. I know you got to use the washroom, so
let me
bathroom,
do
washroom.
that. I'll be right back.
No problem. All right, I'm going to try and fix this here. I'm going to log into a second StreamYard, see if I can figure this out. Because sometimes what'll happen is the chat will cut out, but you can get it on YouTube and it'll come across on YouTube. But the problem is I am not seeing it on my phone either. Oh, here we go. I finally got it on YouTube. Okay, give me a second. Okay. Yeah, nobody's commenting. It's just a quiet chat, but maybe YouTube is not working. So yeah, Johnny, yeah, so it's working. I wasn't sure. You guys were all just listening. Okay, I appreciate that. But which is funny enough. But yes, Johnny says I've been silent because children forgiving their fathers for their actions hit close to home for me, not ready to cross that bridge yet. Fair enough, Johnny. Yeah. I'm just glad, Johnny, I saw your comment earlier. Fuck, Warriors so fucking good. I agree. This is it's one of Ken's favorite movies. Mid-level media is a big fan of this movie. We're talking one of his favorites in the last decade, the last couple decades, 2 decades or so. I know I love this one. Johnny loves this one. And Johnny can be a tough critic, so for Johnny to like this, some deep conversations going on. Yeah, and Nikki, I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's what I love about having you on the channel. Even Ashley is another one. And somebody, we got a nice compliment last week. Somebody said, I like you and Ashley's chemistry, whatever. You guys have good streams together. And so that's always nice to hear stuff like that. But I do there's certain people I like having on. I don't want to say more than others, but it's like you just have better chemistry with some people. Not only that, better conversations. And sometimes it's just smoother or it just feels relaxed. You feel like you're at home. And that's kind of how it is with Mizzy. And so obviously I feel very comfortable streaming with certain people. And that's somewhat of the reason why I have a lot of the same people on, because it's just like, it's so quick. They recommend movies.
It's who you can jive with. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't mean to be a jerk, and I'll get around to having other people on. I just haven't done it. Like I have guys scheduled. I still got to schedule Dell one day and I got to schedule Nicholas, but it'll happen. I don't have like a disdain for anybody or their list. Sometimes you're just in the mood for certain movies.
Right.
And sometimes I'm in the mood for a certain movie on somebody's list, but then I'm like, okay, I'm not in the mood for any of those at the moment. And I don't want to start somebody's list and then take forever to get around to it.
Right.
Jeff's another one. Yeah. I mean, when you get into it, he's probably right behind the screen at the moment or something like that. Who knows?
Nah, he's actually in the other room tonight.
Okay. All right. But I could sit here and kiss ass all day, but I don't do that. Like when I say something, I mean it. So like if I say, Nikki, you got a great son and you raised a good son, like I mean that. And people will sit there and be like, oh, stop kissing ass. It's like, no, if I didn't like your son, I'd tell you. I would genuinely tell you. And I get that's being rude, but like Jeff is one of my favorite people. I had the chance to meet him, and he's one of those people that's pretty quiet on streams, but when you get to know him in person, he's not very quiet.
Oh my God, he's not quiet at all.
No, not at all.
I tell him all the time, you really need to go on and just do a video where you talk to them like you talk to us, and then they understand, because you have to make him slow down sometimes to catch it all.
and that's why we do these meetups, and I know some people in the community, if you want to call it that, feel a certain way, like we're not invited to certain things. What's wrong with having groups that you jive with? So like this guy right here, I'll be back soon enough. Him, like what's him right here? What's wrong with the 4 of us doing streams together, only us? Like if we get along and we have good chemistry, who cares? Quit complaining, quit crying about it. Go find your own people that you get along with and do streams with them. Don't worry about the fact that me and Mizzy stream together a lot, or me and Ashley, or you and I, or Jeff and I, or Jeff and Corey, or whatever. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about a mid-levolution or whatever. Go start your own thing. It's just for fun, okay? And we have good chemistry together, and we like to stream together. There's nothing wrong with that. Like since when did it become a problem to have very close friends you get along with and to hang out with, even if it's every day? Like since when did that become a problem?
Right. Well, that's like I was telling you at the beginning, I'm possibly dabbling into making another channel, which I mean, I made it already, but I don't have anything on it. But and I'm following a bunch of you guys, so got random new subscription. Well, it might have been me, but Jeff and I were talking about it before the stream tonight, and he was like, "Well, what would you want to do?" I would like to have some of these conversations, and I'd like to just have, like I don't really know yet exactly, but where I'd be probably the most comfortable is just talking like this. Like, I mean, why put on airs? I'm a t-shirt and leggings kind of girl, so I'm going to sit here and that kind of thing and just be comfortable and have a good conversation. Otherwise, I don't have any interest in doing this at all.
And you're somebody that's, I'm sitting here, I've streamed with you twice, but I feel very at home. When I did a stream with Ellie, my first stream with her, and we had sent voice messages back and forth to each other, but it was the watch list stream, and she had never streamed with me before, and she got backstage and she's like, "Oh, this isn't so bad," kind of thing. She was like, "Oh, I feel like we already know each other," and that's exactly how it was. And I feel like I'm usually pretty comfortable with most people, but somebody like you, Ashley, Mizzy, Johnny, so on and so forth, it's just easy. It comes naturally.
Yeah. I know. I wanted to ask you when you said
freaking Johnny
a few weeks ago, you're like, well, I've never done anything like this before. And I thought, well, God, is it because I'm old?
No, and it's
or
funny.
Is it because I'm Jeff's mom?
You know what? I just I'd never done a one-on-one with somebody, like Jeff's parent, to Jeff's mom.
Right.
Exactly. Like I'm used to streaming with people like Mizzy and Johnny and Adam or whatever, people we know, like I talk to on the phone on a basis or whatever. So it's interesting. And so it's different, but I love talking these movies. And so when the beauty of this, I do these every week and it's the same stream, essentially same idea, but it's 10 different movies.
Every conversation is completely different.
Exactly. It's 10 different movies. And sometimes we talk about alcohol, but everybody's experience with alcohol is different. So that's always going to be a new conversation. You might hear me say some of the same things, but sometimes I talk about a new story that I talk about, whatever it might be that it ties into alcohol. So you just never know. And I appreciate, like, I thought the chat wasn't working for a while, but they were just quiet and they were taking it in. And sometimes that's good. Johnny, freaking Johnny, because you'll never get to see me to stream with Dakota. When all you talk about is Dakota Johnson or Naomi, Sloth is better looking than me, Watts. Kick his ass. And he's laughing at his own joke. Don't you know, Johnny, you're not supposed to laugh at your own comments. I've had you and Nikki on my big screen this entire time. The conversation has been great. I appreciate that, Anthony. And he's one that made a nice comment last week. So I really
watch a lot of him and Gizmo and Corey together. He's hilarious.
Yeah,
I love to hear you sing, Anthony.
I really like Anthony a lot. I'm not just saying that all because he's in the chat right now or because it's Ellie's boyfriend, but like I genuinely like Anthony. I liked him before I even talked to Ellie a day in my life on like Instagram. He's a cool dude. So, and there's a lot of cool people on Instagram. And who was I just recently telling? Oh, I told Mizzy this today. I said, you have a good group of friends that you're close with. Dave, Tony P, Nick, and Laren. Like, those are some of his closest friends. And I'm like, those are good guys you surround yourself with. They're really good people. I was like, so, that's a huge compliment. Like, you put yourself around good people. And that's huge because, dude, who you surround yourself with is so important.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's good for your psyche to be around people that you're comfortable with. It really is. When you start putting too many people in the mix and you start getting your feelings hurt and worrying about whose feelings you're going to hurt and all that stuff, it's just not worth it anymore.
Yep. Laugh out loud laughing keeps me from crying. Cody says, "What's up, everybody? Don't forget to kick that like button. What's up, dude? Cody, my dude." So the warrior, not to be mistaken with warriors or the warrior or anything like that, but warrior. One of my favorites of all time. Such a fun memory with my dad. Something I'd probably revisit. I love watching movies with my dad. So going to see this in theaters and having it be his bachelor party. It was the first time I was ever somebody's best man was for my dad. Like, it's all good memories for this one.
And it's a deep movie.
Yeah, it really is. And I was younger. I mean, this was 2011 or 13 or something like that. So I was, 2021. So it was still, this was right, probably Johnny can tell me if this was 2011 or 12 or 13, but
2011.
it was 2011. So I was 20. So I actually saw this before I started drinking, before I got caught up in it. It was like a year after this. Yeah. So Mizzy and his crew are fucking awesome. Those guys always crack me up. They're funny together for sure. I was watching on my phone earlier, and chatting is sometimes harder. Brian says, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you watching. And that's the thing. Let me clarify. When I say this, I was telling Mizzy this recently. I said, I always talk about how I don't care about subscribers. Let me rephrase. I don't care about subscriber count. I care about the people that are watching, and the ones who actually care and aren't trolls, and really do care. Those are the ones, even the ones who don't comment. Okay. And there's a lot of them. I appreciate you out there who's watching right now and not commenting, because I don't, when I say I don't care about sub count, I don't care about likes, I don't care about numbers. I care about the relationships that I form.
Right.
That's what matters to me. People that, anyways, Tom
It
Cruise.
makes it nice when it becomes a friendship.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. What's up, Tom?
Somebody appreciating what you're doing and being interested in your content. It's not about content as much as it's about conversation and
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is what I like. And are you going to be closer with some people than others? Sure, of course, absolutely. But if it wasn't, do I love social media? No. Do I take breaks? But if it wasn't for social media, I would have never met people like yourself, but also people that became really close to me, like a Tony from Basement Blues, somebody who
Right.
I look up to as a person. Like, I wouldn't have met him. A Joe who I talked to on the phone quite frequently, and listened all night just flying on oxys.
Oh, feel better, Joe.
Yeah. So, anyways, we still got 3 more movies to discuss. My plan was to get everybody to forget my spoilers earlier, so the movie. I'm literally closer to many of you than most of my real life friends. Yeah, and so that guy in the chat, Codebreaker, he's like my only friend out here that I talk to anymore, and I don't even see him a ton. Outside of that, everybody's social media. And it's just the way it is. Like, you get older and you fall away. Like, I still talk to some of my friends, but I don't see them anymore. The only people I talk to on a daily basis are people from this community. And it is what it is, but I don't sit here and act like, oh, I have, when people are like, oh, you must have a lot of friends. I'm like, no, they're all online. Different country, different states.
Friends from a distance are good sometimes too. It's okay.
Look up to Tony while Tony looks down now. I enjoy the ride, Joe. Okay, all right. So back on topic here. After I read Tom Cruise comment, had some time off after today's reshoots. Brian figured I'd drop in and say hello. All righty, banners, brand. Okay, so there's only 3 left to go. I'm assuming I know number 3, but I could be wrong.
Okay, number 3, Stuck in Love.
Yep. Okay. All right. I actually introduced when Mizzy came out here in March for the Tennessee meetup. I actually showed him this movie. Yes, 2 grown men watching this movie, and he really liked it a lot. Quite
It's
a
a
bit.
good movie.
Or not really a lot, but he liked it, I should say. Is this a 4-star finally?
This is a 4-star.
Nice. Okay, everything's. I love how the. All right, we'll get into it afterwards. But the
one that almost is a comedy is
the 2 titles are like the together are going to be 1 and 2. It just worked out that way.
And those were the last 2 you picked because you weren't sure I'd like either one of them. So
yeah, no. The one I know you'll like. Which is, I think, going to be your number 2, I suppose, after hearing you talk. The one with the father and son, or the mother and son relationship, is the one I was like, this is a no-brainer. She's got to love this movie because it's mother and son. I was like, she's going to love this. I mean, Jeff and her, like, come on. Okay, so 4 stars. Go ahead. Let's talk about some
4 stars. Stuck in Love. Okay,
love
Greg Kinnear is so hilarious in this. I love the fact that it's a family full of writers. Like that won me over right away because writers are usually eccentric weirdos, but they all fit this puzzle so good together, and they're all so hilarious in their own right, and they just bounce off each other. Like, oh my god, when he tells him to go out and get himself some experiences because your sister is this, that, and the other, and she's selling books, and he's like, that's because she's promiscuous, Dad. And he's like, just do your thing, get your experiences under your belt, So it cracked me up. But I loved Kristen Bell in this. She's just dropping by for a quickie, I love Kristen Bell in this. And then, when she's
Got a lot of
trying
energy.
to hook him up with the website and she's trying to get him to dress so she could take the picture of him. Oh my God. She's like, I just don't want to be jogging by here in 5 years and see you still waiting on me to jog on by, I love her anyway, but yeah. And
like,
for it being as funny as it was, I'm surprised it was, to me, I was surprised it was as good as it was. I liked it. So.
Okay. Yeah. Not, let's see if I think, no, I didn't write any notes because I watched this back in March, but I love the fact that you get 3 relationships in this.
Yes.
You get to focus on, you get the son, you get the daughter who's with, Logan Lerman, who I love, and Lily Collins. I love their relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that it's like, there's just issues and that it's not a perfect family and there's dysfunctions, but she like, and I know some of the quotes, like she's like, you make me less cynical. Remember when she says that to him in the car and they're listening to the song and she's like, I'm scared. And he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. And she's like, you could see as she starts to let down the walls because she's just like, I just want to have fun and fuck guys. Like, that's all. Like, I just want to hook up with people. And
he's working too hard for it anyway. I mean, I felt like she was making him work too hard for it.
She did. Yeah. Until she like got caught by the mom watching them through the screen door, and she's like, okay, all right. Yeah. I guess that's what women like. Some women you want to chase or whatever. It's like, okay. Yeah. Loved Lily Collins when I was younger. So this movie, and this is actually something I was going to recommend to Ashley. I was going to put it on her list, but she had already given it 5 stars on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
So I was like, Ashley, I had movies to recommend to you, but you've seen them.
Right.
You liked them already.
You've already seen them, so.
Yeah, this was a good one. I love this movie. This is like, honestly, this is like top 50, top 100 all time for me. I love this.
Yeah, this one's pretty good.
Yeah.
We're still not to the one that I told you a couple weeks ago I'd already watched 3 times, which now I've watched 4. But this one I've watched 3 times now. So
number 2 you've watched 4 times. Okay.
Correct.
All right. I think I know your number 2. I think it's the one with the mother and the son.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's an easy rewatch, that one.
It really is. I watched it twice in 24 hours the first time I watched it. I was like, oh my God.
I hope Jeff's seen it.
I don't think he has watched any of those. I've tried to get him to watch that from the first time I watched it. I've been talking to him about it, and he's just looking at me like, okay, I'll get to it when I do. But he's got a long watch list right now. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But, okay,
so that was really I don't know a whole lot about Stephen King. Did you like that? Yeah. You get a Stephen King cameo there?
Yeah.
A voice cameo?
When he tells him that he loved his book and he's going to help him. He's going to send it off to somebody who helped him get published and this, that, and the other. And it was just like, just you find out there's 3 incidents in this movie where a phone call changes everything. And that's one of them, for the kid was the phone call from Stephen King. And when he tells him that he can't wait to read more of his stories later, this, that, and he wants to say something else to Stephen King, but he's just like, no, I'm just going to cherish what he's just said to me and just leave it there. And that was, that was good for him.
What is it? What book is it? He tells him changed his life. He's like the quote, and he says, he's like oh my goodness, what's the quote? He tells Stephen King, and then he quotes it back to him. And it's killing me that I gotta look this up because the book. It's one of the books. It's like how it opens or something. His book or how it ends. I can't remember the book. It's killing me right now.
No, I don't remember what he said either. But
okay, I'm gonna find that scene. But he's like, "What does the book mention?" It's like, The World of Apples. Is that the one? No, that's the one Sam is reading. But I'll find it. I'll find it. I'll find it because yeah, he tells him he's like, and I can't remember the quote he says it. It's killing me because he says it to him. But if you remember when Greg Kinnear tells
A writer, wait a minute. What is? Hold on. I think that is the one I wrote down. Let me see. Where did I write that? Dun, 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 dun.
Do you remember the scene Greg Kinnear though tells him? He quotes a quote back to him. He says, "It hurt looking at her."
It hurts to look at her. Yeah, yeah,
And he
yeah.
says, "If that was a book, if that was your opening in a book, you would have me. You would hook.
Right now.
You would
When
have
he opens his diary and sees that line, yeah.
you would have your reader hooked." And I love that because it's like it's so true about a book, like in just life in general. There's a hook, right? You got to hook somebody. You got to draw somebody in. Create something that makes somebody just okay, I can't leave. I can't go anywhere. I got to know how this ends.
Yeah. And I think the quote that he said back to him was, a writer is the sum of all his experiences. Or maybe that's what his dad said to him. And that's when he says, like your sister. Maybe it was that.
Oh yeah. The sister comment I remember for sure. I'm just trying to remember the one he says back to Stephen King. Keep talking. I'm gonna look it up because I'm keep talking about this one and I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it for sure.
But I mean, and when you find out, okay, that they're still setting the place at the dinner table for their mom, and that threw me off at first until I figured out why. But that's when I realized how much shit she was really giving her dad for waiting.
Mhm.
You don't know why he's waiting. You know that she hates him for it, because she witnessed the whole incident and all that. So she's been hating on her mom for a long time now. But man, when she finally when she comes for the book signing and she's like, personal note, and her mom's just like, I just want to talk to you. And she's like, what'd she say? She said, okay, just a signature, no personal note. And I mean, the look on her face when she's being snarky to her mom like that. Ooh, I just wanted to reach out and smack a teenager in the face. But
Yep. I got the quote. He says, "I could hear my heart beating. I could hear everyone's heart. I could hear the human noise we sat there making. Not one of us moving. Not even when the room went dark." I guess that's like from a book Stephen King wrote, I believe. I
yeah,
think.
okay.
I think it might have been, or it might have been one of the books that Greg Kinnear wrote.
Yeah, because now when he was talking to Stephen King, he was like, oh, and tell your dad I said hello. I loved his such and such book. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, ouch. But yeah, no, that movie touched on so many different things. Like, okay, as soon as I started figuring out that Kate was the girl that he was writing about in his little story or whatever, I was like, ooh, yeah, I don't think she's for him. She's going to be his downfall. Like that was my first thought on her. And then when he follows her to the party, and he gets in the party and he goes up to find her upstairs, and she's in the bathroom snorting coke. And man, he should have seen right then and there. But then you don't really realize how deep into things she is until she's at their house going through their cabinets. And that's when I was like, oh, Kate's an addict.
Yeah. And
After
he's
that,
young, 16,
young. Yeah,
15.
like, but
And she's
again,
played by Liliana Liberato. So I love this cast, and I really like. I think that's Nat Wolf, and yeah, and that's Nat Wolf,
Nat Wolf is Rusty. Yeah.
not Alex Wolf. So I'm a big Nat Wolf fan. I'm a big Liliana Liberato or whatever. I loved Logan Lerman back when this came out. Lily James, Greg Kinnear is really good. You got Jennifer Connelly,
Yeah.
Kristen Bell. Like this cast is killer.
Another stacked up one.
And
Yeah.
it's a good soundtrack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Edward
It all
Sharp
fits.
and Six Zeros is one of the song. I love that song. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what the Thanksgiving and the songs playing over. I was like, yeah, I love that song. So love this movie. Love this movie. Love
Yeah.
that it takes place over the course of a year, and when it comes back to it, the next Thanksgiving, you see the growth in the characters, and then you also get the same song that plays over, and you see the difference in the way they're interacting with each other.
Yes. Yes. Because when you first meet Sam, man, she's resistant to all kindness.
Mm-hmm.
She cannot be nice, and she can't be.
Did
No one
you
can be nice to her.
did you forgive her character a little once you found out what you found out?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then when she finally goes back and she, like, she first makes the phone call and then she doesn't say anything. She just hangs up on her mom. And then she goes to her mom's door, after he finally tells her about the promise and his past, and now he leaves the plate on the table for the promise that he made to her, and she's like, yeah, but it's been 3 years. And he says, time doesn't matter. That's not what this is about. It's about, I have to keep my promise to her. And then you even as the watcher start to think, okay, well, she's never coming back. You don't have to set that plate no more. And the first time that they don't, then she
Yeah.
knocks on the door. Go get your
Yeah.
dad. I was really thinking your dad would answer the door.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love
So
I love the quote that Rusty, a writer, is the sum of his experiences. Go get some. I
yeah.
love that. And then when he tells him, here's a confession, I'm not a great writer, I'm a great rewriter.
Yeah.
So there's some really good stuff in this movie, some really good stuff.
Yeah, and the dynamic between Sam and Bill when he's talking to her about the book getting published, and then she, you know, finally tells him that it wasn't the one he edited, and he was like, "Well, was my hand too heavy in editing?" And she was like, "Well, yeah, I wanted it to feel more like mine, and this, and this." Well, that's respectable, but I just kind of felt like, that was her coming into her own finally.
It-
So I understood why she put the other book out and everything. Not that she didn't appreciate what he did for her or anything like that, but that's kind of that quirkiness about a writer. They don't want somebody else's hand in their creation.
in the scene, if love is setting a place at a table for someone who is never coming home, I think I'll pass. She
Ooh.
says
Mhm.
she's tough, but she plays a really good job in this. Like she
Yeah.
does good. She plays that character really well.
Yeah.
So I
And
love
and when she finally went to her mom's door and broke down in her mom's arms, I was like, okay, yeah, that was just a broken-hearted kid.
Yeah.
She just was trying to come into an adulthood as that happened. So
This is a movie that's gonna be the chat sees the title Stuck in Love. Oh, fucking Bob and his romantic movies. Like this movie's a lot
this
more.
movie wasn't romantic at all, I
It's
didn't
not
think.
just like your relationships. This movie's about family. There's a lot of
Yeah.
there's love there. There's a like if you appreciate writing or books, like you'll really appreciate this movie. Like oh man, there's a lot of good stuff in this movie that I think is just you look at it and you're like on the surface, oh, it's just stuck in love. Like it sounds stupid. Like no.
And honestly, if I have to tell you, when I saw the title and I'm like, yep, nope, I haven't seen that one. You're like, okay, you're gonna like it, go watch it. Okay, when I first watched it, when I first put it on to watch and I read the synopsis, because I didn't look up anything else other than Letterboxd synopsis on them.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't read no reviews. I barely looked into the casts of any of these movies or anything. I just, whatever it said on Letterboxd is all I knew. Well, I was like, oh, this one's going to be sappy. I'm not sure I'm in the mood for this today. But by the time you get to the end of it, it was kind of a twisted up little story. So it worked really well for me. So
Yeah, it's
and
good.
and it wasn't romantic. It just like you said, you think it's going to be by the title, but that's not
Mm-hmm.
what it's about at all. It's
Yeah.
about loyalty more than
Which is
romance.
probably why Mizzy actually didn't mind this one because
Yeah.
it's not just a love story. It's really not at all. So, I'm gonna take.
It's about enduring more than it is anything else.
And there's different relationships you get, a lot of
Yeah.
characters, and they're really touched on the character growth. Like the development of the characters are really good for as many characters as you have in the movie.
Yeah. And oh my God, okay, when when him and Kristen Bell are getting it on the first time, that's hilarious. But then when she's getting dressed and she's leaving, and he's like, "So you're just off just like that, huh?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'll be back Thursday. Be ready." I was like, "Oh my God."
Right, that's great. We got Jeff in the chat saying Kristen Bell is actually one of my newer actors. Just laughing at Tom here. Johnny, if Tony doesn't find my Christine Blu-ray, My slipcover. Soon he will be looking 6 feet up. Hard some time off. Okay, yeah. I already read that. I don't know what you're talking about, Bob. Yeah, he saw it. He's just lying about it. He saw it. We watched it. I think go check his letterbox at 3 or 3.5. Tom Cruise says, kind of shocked. John hasn't cut a hole in the Chucky's mouth yet. Oh my god. Jeez, it's terrible. Oh damn, LOL. Mizzy, get anything good for your 40th? Thank you for the free tickets to your next movie premiere. LOL. I got you this summer for Mission Impossible. Happy birthday, Mizzy. Oh, good to hear, man. Switch to Chew. John Candy's method and Uncle Buck works. Sounds good. Can't wait. Blah, blah, blah. Thanks, Del. LOL. Maybe I will, Tom. I'll send you my extra 112 vinyl. All right. So do you want to jump into number 2?
We sure can.
Hey, this is my second longest stream I've done with this. Fishes was about 3:45, so we're gonna push that. Poor Jeff. I hope Jeff doesn't mind watching. It's 3 hours deep now, so Jeff, hang with us here. We got 2 left, and it's just funny the way it worked out.
That's all right.
I was gonna
talk about these for a while because they're both pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say so. All right, so number 2 is gonna be
The Way.
The Way Back.
Yep.
Okay, all right. So I was wrong. So I was right in the fact that you're number 1. I know you're number 1, but the number 1 I would is what I'm saying. I feel like here I got to put it up here, but I feel like number 1, Jeff should see because it's such a mother-son is the heart of it. Okay, where is it? Right here. The Way Back.
No. That's
the way back, right here.
The way back.
The way back. Okay.
That's number 2. Now, I will say that they're tied for number 1 and number 2, so it doesn't really matter. So
okay. But anyways, it's funny. Okay, everybody already knows, but the way back and the way back lined up with each other 1 and 2. I'm already getting mixed up here, but the way back is the mother-son one I was talking about that Jeff should see. That's the one that I feel like Jeff would really like. Love this film. So we got the way back we're going to be talking about, which is the one with Sam, help me out, Rockwell. Is that his name?
Sam Rockwell. And that's why, man, that was, I rewrote my notes today, but the very first thing I wrote on my other notes before I redone them was, I love Sam Rockwell in giant letters.
So Sam Rockwell seems like he'd be a really fun person to hang out with in real life.
Oh yeah.
He just seems like a cool dude.
Even in movies where you hate the character, you love to hate him doing it.
Yeah, he's so good. And he's won an Oscar.
Oh yeah. Have you seen The Green Mile?
Yep, love that
one.
Oh
my god. He's such a sicko in that one, but he's so good at it.
Yeah, he really is. He does a good job. Yeah, the to-do list is another good one. The to-do list is really good, and the way back are underrated summer flick movies. Yeah. Let me tell you what your number 1 is, in case anybody doesn't already know that I've been screwing it up. Is really, I'm so happy that's your number 1, like a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't be doing any tricky names anymore because I clearly screwed it up tonight.
Right. Got to spread them out a little bit, Bob.
Yeah, but it worked out. You obviously liked them both, so
I did. And it wouldn't have mattered if I'd have picked the other one as number 1, number 2. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
it doesn't matter at all.
These both work. Okay, so go. Is this a 4, 4.5, or what?
Just a 5-star.
5-star. Let's go.
2.5.
Let's
go. I don't think I've seen you give anybody a 2 5s yet. No.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't even know if I've given a 5 to anybody yet. I don't think so. Nope.
I watched The Way Back twice in 24 hours, or The Way Back.
I think Joe gave Forever Strong 4.5 or 5 stars. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But go ahead. Yep.
This movie is lined with people I love, except for I have to just tell you, I absolutely hate Steve Carell.
Oh, okay. So
that worked for me with this movie.
Because he's a dick.
Because he's a dick from the first thing I wrote down is, what a prick.
Yeah, he's not.
Like, the moment he tells him, oh, well, I think you're a 3. Oh, man, pull this car over and let me out because I don't even want to be party to you no more.
Jeff, if you're watching this is your homework very soon. You got to watch this movie because, it's a mother-son relationship and this one goes deep. So, I mean, it's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so what can I say about this movie? He said in the car, I said, I can't stand Steve Carell. What a prick. So the opening scene where he says, I think you're a 3. One day we could become a family. I was like, no, no. In big giant letters, I wrote, no. You ain't being nothing to this kid. He already hates you. So it don't matter what you say or do from here on out. Telling him that he's a 3. Come on, dude. Like, how long you been dating his mom? You don't have no right to say that to him. You have, like, who are you to judge? You know nothing about this kid. And you could tell right away by how it was set up and the things he was saying to him that they hadn't known each other very long. Because he's saying things like, well, since I've been dating your mother, she says all you do is sit in their apartment. So they're not living together. You're nothing to him. You're going on a little vacation with your girlfriend and her kid. You have no right to talk to her kid that way. Like, I would.
And there's a scene where he says, he called me a 3. Who says that to somebody?
Yeah.
He says that. The kid literally says
when he's opening up to Sam Rockwell. He tells him all that. I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, So like I said, it worked that I can't stand Steve Carell, that he was a jerk in this, because I ain't gonna like him any better afterwards. But
we all judge women and men, and I don't like. I've never. And yes, I think women are attractive, and I always say, like, yeah, she's really attractive or whatever. But like, I hate the number scale. I've never liked that, even when I was younger. I still don't like it to this day. I think it's fucking stupid, if you ask me, calling somebody an 8 or a 9. Like, I think that's so damn stupid. I'm like, what? Where do we get this number from?
Well, and here's the thing, like, you're talking to a 14-year-old kid who obviously his parents just gone through a divorce. He's kind of a little bit lost in his life right now. And I mean, like, just the basis of this very first conversation, you're getting this much information. And how dare you just, I don't know, browbeat this kid and make him feel like he's a nothing? Like, ugh. Like, already didn't like that. But and like I wrote down, he treats him like a child with every condescending word he utters in the kid's direction. And then my next comment was, oh my God, the life jacket. What the hell? Like, everything he does makes him feel like I don't know. Just But then they get to the beach house, and Alice and Janney comes out. I freaking love Alice and Janney. I think she is hilarious in almost everything she does, even her serious roles. She somehow pulls off.
Is that the one that looks like Maya Rudolph?
Huh?
Is that the one that looks like Maya Rudolph?
No, Maya Rudolph is in this.
Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, never mind.
Alice and Janney's the next door neighbor that's got the kid with the crossed eye.
Oh yeah, no, that's not the same character. Okay, I was thinking Maya Rudolph. So, yeah, I was like, hold on, yeah, okay, she's the one. I know it. She's funny. Yeah,
she's hilarious.
You see another actress, like when I hear the name, I don't know who the hell you're talking about, but when I look at it, it's like a song. Like, what's that song? And then you hear it, and you're like, oh, I know.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
But no, I loved her character. I mean, she's just, you can tell she's the drunken neighbor that causes drama, but from the moment she walks outside, hi, and you look up and the sign on her porch says booze cruising. It's like, she's the beach drama queen. But
she is funny though.
She is funny.
Yeah, she's not a bitch. She's not like a bitch at all.
No, I mean, she's kind of a little bit of a bitch to her kid.
Yeah.
Cover up your eye, you make people uncomfortable.
Like the viewer, it's funny. It's hilarious as a viewer, but yeah, she's mean to herself.
Especially, in the beginning when they first get there, and she's like, yeah, and Peter had his eye surgery, and they fucked it up even more. Like, oh my God. And this kid walks in and his eyes, like, it's like, you're such a cruel mother,
They fucked it up even more. Oh shit. This movie, it's good stuff.
It is. This
I like Maya Rudolph. Yeah, I like her. And Toni Collette's always good. She's a great actress.
Oh yeah. Have you ever seen the show United States of Terror with Toni Collette?
No, I haven't.
She plays a person with multiple personalities in that show, and one of them's a guy named Buck. It's a redneck guy named Buck. Oh my god,
Oh wow,
that show's hilarious.
no,
It's worth the watch. It's not very many episodes, and they're only 30-minute episodes, and it was on Showtime, so it's really raunchy.
Oh, nice.
Very well worth the watch.
Yeah,
so if you can get access to watch the old Showtime shows,
yeah,
I think it's only maybe 2 seasons, maybe 3, and I think they're just like quick 30-minute little episodes. But yeah, that show was pretty funny. I love Toni Collette, but she's wide range, and that always helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I hated it for her in this movie because even though she's trying to be with him, she's trying to play that mediator between him and the son and this, that, and the other. She gets railroaded too. So,
See, I like Anna Sophia Robb when I was younger. When I saw this, it was a perfect age for Anna Sophia Robb, and I liked her at the time. So, like, she's one of the reasons I seek this movie out. Not that she's even a big character, but I liked her character. She's fun in it. So
she's the daughter, right?
Yeah, she's the love
neighbor.
interest, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I could relate to his character too in ways when I was younger. Not the being treated like shit by your stepfather or whatever.
But a little bit of nerdiness and the
like just being kind of. I was never a like a huge introvert like him, but I don't. So I guess I can't in a way, but like
maybe somewhat awkward.
Yeah, like feeling like just trying to figure out where you fit in.
Mm-hmm.
That I can relate to. Like just trying to figure out who you are, where you belong. I think everybody can relate to that.
I was going to say, I think everybody goes through that to an extent, some deeper than others, but yeah.
Yeah. Cause in high school I was trying, so I was at the perfect age, but yeah, this came out at a really good time. And fun fact, and I don't know if Mizzy said it in the chat yet, but this water park is a real water park in Massachusetts that Mizzy has actually been to.
Nice.
I thought that was pretty cool when he was telling me that. I was like, oh, that's cool, man. I was like, I want to visit it then. I like visiting.
Well, I kind of feel like the park was a big character in the movie itself, honestly.
Character, yeah. He was like, we were watching and he's like trying to figure out like what looks familiar and all that stuff. So
well, that's cool. That's cool.
That was pretty cool.
Okay. Let's see. What did I write down? Okay. After I wrote down the life jacket. Oh my God. Okay. So, by the time you've gotten to the part where they've taken the boat trip, all this and that, you can really tell that this kid is fed up with Trent, Carell's character. He is just like, okay, I've got to get away from these people. Well, next thing I wrote down is he gets on that bike looking for an escape. When he comes across Water Whiz, that was the best thing. It's about to save the summer, and that's what I wrote down. Water Whiz is going to save the summer. And then he walks in there, and there's Sam Rockwell again, because he's already seen him in the car, so you kind of got an idea that he's going to be something in the movie later on.
Mm-hmm.
But when he walks over to him, and he's like, "Well, you got to leave. You're too sad to be here today." And he's like, "Okay." And he just gets up like he's going to leave. He's like, "Whoa, that wasn't even the best stuff. Come on back. Let's."
That's what makes Sam Rockwell. So the reason I like Sam Rockwell so much in a Jason Bateman is another one is because they don't, and I'll just keep my thoughts to myself on one comedian I don't like, but they don't. I'm going to say what I want to say.
Just say it.
Jim Carrey tries really hard to be funny, and it doesn't work for me at all. I'm not a Jim Carrey fan. Never once was as a kid. It's his comedy too, though. Like the stand-up doesn't work for me, and so I just I don't know. I was super into like Jason Bateman and Sam Rockwell. I think their comedy is more my style, where they just feel like they're genuinely funny and they're not trying to be. Like when I watch Jason Bateman or Sam Rockwell,
the difference. Like
I laugh at their stuff, and I don't like them.
I like Jim Carrey to an extent. Like I love Liar Liar, that kind of thing. But he's so over the top, you can take him or leave him. Yeah. What I like about Sam Rockwell, Jason Bateman is they're as good at comedy as they are at drama.
Oh, for sure.
Don't miss a beat.
No.
Have you seen Ozark?
No, I don't watch Ozark, but I know that's Jason Bateman. I know, like the main too, right?
And if you like Jason Bateman, it's worth the watch too. It's a quick watch. Again,
I think I would really
pretty well
like
worth it.
Dark too. I think I would. I'd be
Yeah,
surprised.
I really think you would.
That's a show I feel like I would like. Like how everybody told me Rescue Me, I got to check out, and I got to do it.
Oh, Rescue! Oh God! And see, and I love Dennis Leary. Rescue Me is way up high for me. So
yeah, I would like both of those. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. So Sam Rockwell, he's really funny, and I think that's when comedy works for me is when I feel like they're not trying to make me laugh and they're just funny. Like he says,
they're just having a good time doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, like he just seems like he'd be fun to hang out with. Like I'd crack, like I would just I felt like that kid where Sam Rockwell would just have me laughing the whole time.
Yeah,
like
or at least in a comfortable place where you didn't feel like you were out of place being there.
Dave Durant is another one where every time I'm around that damn guy, he is cracking me up.
Right.
He's just fucking funny. And I'm sure people in the chat would agree with that. Like, dude, Mizzy tells me, he's like, dude, every time I'm around Dave, it's like I'm cracking up. He's just hilarious.
The night that he came on your live stream and he had the suit on that was the muscle body. Oh my God. I laughed the whole night.
Right?
Like
and Dave doesn't try hard to do it. He's funny now.
No, it comes so natural to him.
That's when I like comedy is when people aren't like just trying so hard to be funny.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
When it comes natural, it's easy to watch, easy to enjoy. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Let's see.
Johnny's up there. Johnny.
Oh yeah.
Him and Dave, give them a pissing contest into who's funnier.
I don't know. I love to listen to Johnny rant. I know that he don't like to rant, but I
gather around, children. It's story time.
All right.
When he did that, gather around, children. It's story time. Oh my goodness. I don't want to.
And that night was the first introduction I had to any of you guys.
Yeah, I figured that was the Airbnb meetup. That's where you had first experienced it because obviously he was there.
He had been talking to me about it a little bit here and there, but it wasn't one of those things where he was. I don't know if he was comfortable enough with you guys to be comfortable enough to let me in.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a pretty tough cookie, and my kids know that about me. But it's one of those things where I'm really close to my kids, so if they're letting me in their friend group, it's because they trust those friends.
You're tough, but you're respectful, and there's a difference between I've never gotten streaming with you or in the chat. You've never come off as rude or disrespectful to me. Like you've always been kind to me, even if it's tough. There's a difference, and I think that's the problem with today's society is. People just feel like when somebody's being tough on you, they're being rude, and it's like, no, they're not. There's a difference.
No, it's you want to be honest with people. That's right, what it's about for me. I just want to be open and honest.
People get offended by facts today.
Facts, right on. and there's just I don't know, but yeah, that night watching you guys for Tim's birthday party at the Airbnb, that was freaking great, and I laughed so hard, especially when Johnny's up there talking about sour cream and his potato. I would have just scooped it out and took it for you guys. I know you don't like sour cream. I do love it, but that's a fat girl's love. But
oh my goodness, sour cream, yes. Johnny's throwing up in the chat right now.
and then for them to say that you guys were privileged or whatever it was, I was privileged. I was dying laughing.
When he said that, yes, entitled, and then it was Ryan who was like, no, he said privileged, not entitled, privileged.
Yeah.
I'm a fat, white, privileged man.
That's okay. That's all right.
Oh my God.
We can all be fat and happy. Screw them. It ain't none of their concern anyway.
Good stuff.
They got paid that day to be there taking your shit, Johnny. It's okay.
Well, the next Airbnb meetup will be about 5 or 6 people bigger, so I was like 15. The next one will be 21 or 22 or so. Who knows?
And if me and Bree ride up to go shopping with you guys, well, we're gonna have a bigger table at Longhorn. Screw them guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, Texas Roadhouse. My goodness.
Or Texas Roadhouse. Yeah.
No, yeah, we're not doing that again. That won't happen. No.
Well, why not? We don't want them to think Johnny's afraid of them. Shit, no.
That was a bummer too, because Texas Roadhouse is a lot of our favorites. So but
Yeah.
it hasn't detoured us from going to Texas Roadhouse. Like, I still love Texas Roadhouse. I'm not that was just a bad experience, but I still love Texas Roadhouse. Still one of my favorite places to eat. Just don't put sour cream on mine or Johnny's, because I fucking hate sour cream too. I was telling my mom, we were out yesterday for my sister's like surprise birthday party, and she turned like 34 or whatever. And that's how. So here's another thing. Okay, so I posted on my story, and my sister handed me a big old piece of cake, and my other sister goes, "Oh my God, this is why you're fat, Bobby." And and people get offended by that, and I'm like, you don't get it. Like, this is how me and my family talk to each other. Okay.
Right.
This is the kind of relationship we have. We can call each other fat. We also don't take offense to it. We understand, like, I know
because you have admitted that you've been slacking on your
I
work.
put on weight, and
You're
that's why I don't take offense
up a little bit.
That's a fact. Once again, it's a fact. How am I going to sit there and get offended by somebody speaking the truth? I just can't do that. Like, and so, but like, that's the relationship we have too. And so when people tell me how I should talk with my mom, or how my mom should talk to me, I'm like, go fuck yourself. I'm like, don't tell me how my mom should talk to me. I'm like, I'm glad my mom's not a pushover and she's tough. Like, she's tough with me, but she cares, and she says some funny stuff sometimes, and sometimes she insults me, but she's doing it out of love. And
that's the mom's jobs. Keep you on your toes,
Yeah, that's the relationship we have. So don't tell me how to talk to my mom or how my mom should talk to me. Go get the fuck out of here.
Right.
I'm glad she's not soft. She's old school. She didn't raise somebody to be soft. You know what I mean? That's not
it doesn't pay off. It doesn't pay off in this world to send your children out unprepared.
100%. And I know you want to protect your kids, but sometimes I think that's the problem. Sometimes some parents don't let their kids make mistakes.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and then these kids,
if there's no consequences for the things you do in this world, then you just run rampant and you keep screwing up over and over and over. You never decide that there's a time when you got to be responsible for yourself, take action towards the things you need to correct. And, if there's no consequences, you just don't do those things. And I had a boss one time, one of the best men I've ever met in my life. He taught me that progress only happens outside your comfort zone. If you're comfortable, you're not working hard enough. That's a fact.
I love that.
You have to do uncomfortable things to achieve.
There's a book or a motivational speaker I was listening to, and he said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it's like, because if you can get comfortable being in uncomfortable positions your whole life, like if you're constantly uncomfortable, right? You're going out of your comfort zone. He's like, then stuff that's hard isn't going to be so hard for you. You're going to be used to it. He's like, but if you do everything that's easy your whole life, when something hard comes up, you're not used to it. You don't know what to do. You're not prepared for it. But if you do what's hard your whole life, everything else should be easy.
Right.
And I believe that. I do. I believe that, put yourself in situations. And like when I was training and I was going to the gym, and I was talking to Mizzy about this today, like when I do OCR races and I'm doing work for grip strength, I was like, I would find random places like stairwells and anything. I would do grip strength with towels and stuff hanging on them. And I was like, it's because I wanted to get uncomfortable. I wanted to be in tough spots because I knew when I get to that race, I wanted to be prepared for it. And if I trained easy, I'm not going to be ready.
Yeah, I'm less wanting to be out of my comfort zone the older I get, but I think it's just because I'm just tired now. And I'm just tired. We talked last week and I told you I'd switch jobs. Well, since I talked to you last week, I've switched jobs again.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I need to find some place where I feel like I'm appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm too old to do 3 people's jobs. So let me come in, do my job, go to the house. Because as long as I can pay the small bills I've got my bills down to, I really don't care about working. Like I have other things in my life to do. I have husbands and children's and grandchildren's and places to be and things to do. And I just need to pay my bills and that's it. And, prior, I've been in supervisor positions. I've been general manager positions. I've been I've done things that would warrant a great paycheck and everything else. I don't care about any of that. It's not what's important to me anymore. So I've been outside my comfort zone long enough to achieve the things I wanted to achieve and know that I can do it. Now I just want to be somewhere where I'm appreciated. The rest of it, I don't care. I don't care about dollar amounts too much. I appreciate a good dollar amount, but it doesn't have to be a good dollar amount for me to do a good job for you. I just have to be respected.
I think being appreciated is it's so true. It's so true. Even having a conversation with Huck as a content creator. I mean, Ken, Tony, the list goes on. Like, even as people just put out, I don't like the word YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber. I just put out content, right. But like stuff I want to do, and I don't even put out content right now, just these. But like, you just want to be appreciated in life in general, anyway. Yeah. I mean, it feels good to know that people appreciate you.
Well, and it's flat out, you guys talked about that little negativity stream you guys did the other night and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Flat out, if you don't like what we're talking about, just go watch something else.
Mm-hmm.
Why be a negative Nancy? Why put your BS out there? We're not inflicting you with this. You came here to watch.
And people like you I won't dive into politics and stuff like that. I don't like to talk about it. I have my opinions on things, right? But like, I respect other people, but people should know by now what I stand for, what I believe in. And why are you watching my content if you're, this person? Like,
right.
You're not gonna like anything I have to say. Why are you watching? I'm not gonna like anything. You're not gonna like anything I have to say. Then don't watch. Like, I'm not.
That's just purposely wanting to be a jerk,
a troll, right? Exactly. Yeah. And the people, even there's people that disagree with things I believe in. I'm sure there's people in the chat that do, right? Dell and I have had conversations, but Dell still watches. It's okay because I respect Dell. I feel like Dell respects me, and we give each other our opinion, even if we disagree. And so there's doing that where you're like, hey, I don't like what you have to say, or I disagree.
Some of the best relationships in the world are with people that you don't always agree with.
Mm-hmm. And you just got to have respect. You got to be able to respect each other and have an adult conversation and walk away without getting heated. And I think today it's hard to sometimes do that for certain people, but it's like, trust me, everything doesn't need to be heated.
And when this stops becoming fun, it's no longer worth doing.
100%.
So, 100%. I used to tell the kids when they were little, and as a matter of fact, I said it to the 5-year-old here tonight, when I got here, and he was in there, gruffing about a game, and I'm like, when it's no longer fun, it's no longer a game, it's time to shut it off. Like, I used to tell my kids that all the time. If they'd be back in the bedroom playing a video game and one of them would be loud with the other or what have you, and I'd be like, hey, when it's no longer fun, just turn it off. Like, why are you putting yourself through this angst or this anger or whatever over something that's supposed to be enjoyable?
Speaking to that, it's almost like for love of the game when he says, I'm done for the love of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not that it's no longer fun. He loves the game, but he didn't want to go play for the Giants.
Right.
He played in Detroit for 19 years his whole career. I'm done for the love of the game. Yeah. I love her. I want to be with her, and things like that. So
yeah.
But
and there are turning points in life where those are the decisions that you have to come to grips with and make the moves. So yeah.
Yeah, I'll get us back on track here. I know sometimes we get off track, but I'm telling you, I appreciate it. Yeah, I know we were talking about we were getting to the end of the way back here. You gotta love the beginning of the movie opens with them in the car, and the way it ends is with her in the car again, but she goes into the back seat.
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes here, I was hoping and I figured, I literally said this because I knew you were going to like it. I was hoping and I figured you would enjoy the mother-son dynamic and relationship in it. I wrote, and I just love Sam Rockwell. He's genuinely hilarious and big fan of his. And then I wrote, I also like the development of the main character. You get to see his development.
Well, and I will say that I was less on about the mother-son relationship in this than I was
Sam Rockwell.
Him and Sam Rockwell's connection, just because he needed something outside of the situation to connect to.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I feel like, okay, when he busted Trent and Joan having the little rub up against each other around the side of the house when they were supposed to be gone after drinks. And then, he comes back, and you can tell by the look on the mom's face that she kind of understood something just went down over there, but she didn't really want to confront it in the moment. And then he loses his shit, and he's just like, he's back there screwing her, and da, 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 da. Do something about it, Mom. Get up and do something about it. I thought in that moment, that's why you appreciate him having the relationship with Sam Rockwell, because he needed somebody, even though he was trying to stand up for his mom and he was trying to, he needed somebody to disconnect all that from. So, and it gave him a confidence that he wasn't getting at home at that point. So I just, I don't know. Sam Rockwell, just let him be himself. Whereas everybody else expected him to be what they wanted him to be.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that.
What's the nickname they give him?
Oh, hold on. Pop and Lock.
Pop and Lock, yeah.
Pop and Lock. Pop and Lock, he's going for it.
That's that white people dancing right there. That looked just like me trying to dance. I tell you, I mean, I'm not a good dancer. My dad's a way better dancer than I am, but that looked just like me.
That shit is so good.
Like, I was having this conversation with somebody recently, and we were talking about people getting offended by stuff, and we were just like, dude, white people can't dance. Like, most white people can't dance. Like, why like, you don't, like, it's just the truth. It's a stereotype exist for a reason, and majority of white people cannot dance, are not good dancers.
No.
I mean, there's good white dancers out there, but the majority of white people cannot dance. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so much so that I used to go to clubs when I was a drinker. I mean,
and it's just not very pretty though.
But I danced a few times, but me and my husband had our very first slow dance last year in September when our son got married.
Oh wow. Not Jeff.
We had never danced together before that, so I finally, And
that's why I'm like, okay, there's stereotypes, and I know stereotypes are meant to be broken and not everything is true, okay? But they exist for a reason, okay? And it's not every, but it's usually a majority, and that one's a pretty accurate stereotype. And we see it in that movie. It's just really funny watching him try to dance.
Yeah, it's great. Like, there was so many little things in this movie, like Lewis's character. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's so flippin' dry. And it's like he's the depressed Eeyore of the crowd.
Yeah. Oh man.
And when they have the party and Peter finally gets to go and have some fun, and he's like, I'll circle back, and because you're waiting the whole time for this kid to just get a little bit of something, and finally he, takes him to the party, to Lewis's going away party, and he's just there having a blast. And just little things like, okay, when they get stuck in the tube, in the slide, and he gets Malcolm to go down and bust up the 3 adopted kids, he calls them his adopted kids.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so hilarious. Just like all the little things make that
Ishmael.
Yeah, Ishmael. Yeah,
Ishmael. He's like, that's hilarious. He's so funny, man. Sam Rockwell, when he makes the joke and he's like, he's doing the Flashdance reference, and he's like, anybody Flashdance? No, none of you. He's like, oh my God, you're all dead to me.
and that's one of the things I like about Sam Rockwell is, like, in this particular movie, he has so many quick one-liners, and he pulls them off so natural. They just flow right out like they were meant to be there. I mean, of course they're written to be there, but he makes it feel like impromptu,
He's really good. Do you want me to catch up with the chat? I know it's been a while. I probably
sure.
If you're done on that one, I know it's 3 hours, and I hope you're not bored.
No, I'm not bored at all.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, so what did Steve Carell do to Nikki?
I just don't like him. I don't know. Like, I like The 40-Year-Old Virgin. It's a good movie. I don't know. Punch him in his face ugly. I don't know. I just don't like him.
He's like your Jonah Hill for Johnny.
Right, exactly. I just can't get there from here.
Like,
how he got that popular, I have no idea.
You're only supposed to say you're a dime closet thing to a number. Oh,
closest thing to a number.
Closest thing to a number. Okay, yeah. Uh, yeah, you're a dime. Grow up near. I will say, like, I heard the expression "you're a dime." You're like that's a dime piece. I've heard that for sure growing up. That's a compliment, though. You're just calling her perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
that's at least not calling somebody a five. I feel like if you don't want to call somebody a dime piece, then don't say anything at all. I don't know. Grew up near where they filmed this movie. See, been to the exact water park where they filmed it a few times. Yeah, park was in Cape Cod. Yeah, Bob loved the Showtime After Dark films back in the day. Right there, it's technically not part of Cape Cod, but yeah, I grew up on the Cape. Bob and his
Having his Skinamax.
Skinamax. Ozark is awesome. Brian says, dude, Jason Bateman and Ozark, top tier acting.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it, Jeff. I believe it. It's on my list of shows to watch, like Bateman, a lot. The whole cast on that show is great, though. Brian says,
Yeah, Jeff, you turned me on to Ozark. They were watching it here long before I knew what it was, and oh man, I binge watched that in no time flat.
It's like a couple seasons. I wish these shows would get box sets, and I would watch it and binge it because I really enjoy physical media.
Yeah.
But Johnny's story time was definitely a highlight of that trip. Yep. Yeah, but when you get that ADHD, it's all uncomfortable. Jeff says. Evening all. Hello,
Hey,
Chris. Yo,
Chris.
Mizzy. What's up, Chris C? How's it going, man? Yeah, I broke a controller and the boy, the look on my father's red face. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got Vinicio in the chat. What's up, Bobby Blue? You got to see him stream sometime, Vinicio. He's a really cool dude. He's like all tatted up, and I swear. So the first time I met Vinicio, it was backstage. It wasn't backstage. It was like just talking to him on Instagram, and I watched a couple of his videos. I was buying some stuff that somebody hooked me up, like introduced me to him, and I started talking to him. And within like 2 hours, I was like, "Hey, do you want to stream sometime?" Literally, and this dude's all tatted up, and I'm like, man, he's like the nicest damn guy you'll meet. But he's the most intimidating looking guy, I swear. But he's cool as fuck. Mizzy says Bob doing the two step. Hey Chris, hey Benicio, what's up? Mizzy, what's up? Holland, 40-year-old virgin is great. Benicio, yo Holland. Hey Chris and hey Benicio. Okay, perfect. It wasn't too bad to get caught up on. So, are you ready to dive into number one?
Sure.
Hi, Jeff. Yep, no bueno PS5 Pro. Laughing loud, give me a break. All right. Okay, number one, we have got. Well, I guess I've already showed it enough.
Yeah.
It's going to be The Way Back with Ben Affleck, not directed by Ben Affleck, but Gavin O'Connor. By the way, this was directed by the same guy that directed Warrior.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So I'm a big Gavin O'Connor fan, one of my favorite directors. There we go. The Way Back. Gosh.
Yep.
I'm never doing that shit again. I thought it was gonna be
Yeah, this movie is also 5-star, obviously.
very heavy, this one.
This one, okay, as we talked about earlier, the alcoholism. When you see him drinking in the car, he's drinking on the job, he's drinking in the shower, he's drinking for breakfast, he's drinking for lunch, he's drinking for dinner, he's drinking constantly.
Shower beers.
Like, yeah, and I mean, it's like there's not even a break in time in the beginning of that where he's not pouring something in something that you know is alcohol. So I'm like, okay, something's eating him alive because, it's one thing to be a drinker and come home from work every night and have a drink. It's something else to live, eat, breathe, and sleep alcohol. Finding out what that is that's eating him away. Oh, it took a long time to get there, I felt, but it wasn't slow in between time to keep you, to bore you in any way. Every moment I was still looking forward to figuring out why. And when I found out why, I was... Very few movies make me cry on the first watch through. I usually have to sit on it and watch through it a second time. No. The moment I figured out why he was in the shape he was in, I was broken. So, yeah. He doing all that drinking and everything, and then he gets, the phone call from the priest, and he's like, "You want to come and coach the boys?" And I thought, okay, well, I wrote down, just the way he agonized over this decision only solidifies how badly he needs this in his life right now. And that was like before anything really happened. Just because you see him, agonizing over just giving them an answer as to whether or not he wants to do this. And it just made me know that he needed to be busy doing something. And I had still at this point no idea why. But then he meets with his wife for lunch, and that didn't go well, and really all she wants is his permission to be done. At least at that point, that's what you really think. But later on, you find out that's not what she wants from him. So, but yeah.
He was, Ben Affleck
Mm-hmm.
was struggling with alcohol, his alcohol addiction when he made this movie. And
Yeah.
I think I remember reading he had relapsed during the
During filming.
and it was Jennifer Gardner who went to Gavin O'Connor and like begged and pleaded him to continue to finish this movie and do it with Ben Affleck. Like, he needs this. And
Yeah.
I love Jennifer Gardner. I mean, she just seems like a great mom in real life
Yeah.
too and everything. So
Yeah. Again, as we talked about the struggle, I won't say I had anything as horrific as what pushed him over his edge happen in my life, but I could have seen relapsing with going through what we went through when Jeffrey was diagnosed with diabetes. So thank God I didn't relapse, don't need that in my life. But yeah, as a parent, this one was extremely hard. And you never even got to see him with his kids, so you don't have to watch it, but just to know it is enough. It's heartbreaking. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, what else did I write? Okay. Lunch with his ex. I knew this wasn't going to go well. Here's Doc to the rescue again, because after he meets with her, then he gets drunk and Doc has to carry him home again. And then when he's having the conversation with the other guy at the school, and the guy tells him, when they're talking about the beer cans in the office, and he said, well, I had a friend visit me, and we just had a couple of drinks. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And they're like, no, can't be having that, and that can't happen again. And he tells him, well, he's like, oh, well, this didn't affect the kids. And he's like, don't ever underestimate the power you have of influencing them,
that's such a good line.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it really hit home because, there's more to the things that happened when I quit drinking, that when I realized I was affecting other people. And yeah, so relapsing is so easy. It's that holding yourself accountable and staying sober that's the hard part. It's really hard to look in the mirror sometimes when you have a past that you're ashamed of. But if you're living each day past that past upright, you don't have to worry about what you look like in the mirror, because you're no longer guilty of those things. I mean, self-forgiveness is a true necessity in life too. So
so true.
So
when I was in recovery and I was working the 12 steps, and not too long ago, Mizzy asked me, he's like, did you go through the 12 steps? And I was like, I never finished all 12 steps, but I got to the part where you make amends. And I reached out to one person. That's why they tell you do so when it's not going to harm others. I reached out to one person. It didn't make things better on that person. Yeah. And so sometimes you're better off not. And but I like had a conversation with my mom, apologized to her, telling her, like, I've recently talked to her, and I told her for the first time, I was like, when I went to lunch with her not too long ago, and I was gambling, and I had a bookie at the time. I don't think I've ever shared this on a live stream, and now I am. But I had a bookie. This was before gambling was legal, and I was in a bad way, and I
Oh,
didn't.
gambling's a hard addiction too. I
Yeah,
been there myself.
and I didn't have the money to
It's great
cover.
when you're winning, baby.
And the bookies reached out to me and he needs money. And I remember telling my mom, I need money. And she was like, okay, what do you need? And I was like, it's for my car payment. And I just recently told her, I was like, Mom, I lied to you a lot back then when I was gambling. And she was pretty surprised, not hurt because it's so long ago now, but she was just like, she's like, a bookie? Like, what the hell? Like, she had no idea. And,
Right.
you know, you just hear about bookies, you know, oh, they're going to break your knees and whatnot. But like, I wasn't, that's why, yeah, I don't talk about the gambling too much because it's something that, you know, I just don't, I guess not too many people relate to or not too many people talk about. But yeah, I was in a bad way.
Addiction's addiction, either way you look at it. And once you're an addict of something, it's very easy to replace that addiction with some other addiction, regardless of whether or not it's self-harming, a self-harming addiction. You know, it doesn't always have to harm you to be something that you're probably not really, you know.
And then I went from that, like you're talking about, where self-harming addiction, I went to running. And so when people would be like, you're obsessed with it, all you do is talk about running, all you do is you want to sign up for races. And I'm like, you know what?
You had to have that outlet, though.
It's at least, and Ashley was telling me this last week. She's like, at least it's a healthy addiction.
Yeah.
She's like, you know, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I agree. You can get obsessed with things and they can even get to a point where like, okay, you need to take a step back. But like, I never felt like that. I wasn't running that much, but running, there were times in my life like I was struggling. I remember a while back in December, years and years ago when I first started running, like I was in a bad place just mentally. And I wasn't there. I just wasn't, I shut everybody out. I was not in a good place, and running like saved my life. And I know that sounds corny probably for some people to hear, but like, have you ever felt like movies saved your life? Like that was for me in that time in my life. Running was always the thing that like when I needed somebody to talk to, I went for a run and I could clear my head and I could just the breeze and the leaves and the just the sounds out there, and it's just you and that's it. And nobody there to tell you you're wrong or right. You just get to, it's just a voice in your head. You just listen, right? And so it kind of saved my life. I went through a period and yeah, and so that was something, you know, and I've been there with the alcohol too. Like this movie when he, you know, goes drowns in a bottle, you know, the beer like constantly with the fridge, and then he puts one in the freezer and next one and then another one. I think I've only told Mizzy this. I haven't opened
When he
up.
goes and buys the box of booze.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all them different types, and he's just got a box that's every bit this big, and he's, you know, full of all sorts of different types of booze. And I'm just like, that's so he can have one in every cubby and every, you know, within reach everywhere he ever is. You know, that's the only reason why you buy that much at a time.
When I was drinking, right before I quit, this was towards the end. There was a time my mom let me use your car because I didn't have my car. My car wasn't running at the time. I was like 21, 22 at the time. And I thought the world was ending for me at the time, you know, young kid, 21, 22, immature and all that stuff, not working, didn't have a job at the time, car wasn't running. So my mom gave me a car to go pick up a pizza. And I had never in my life contemplated or thought about ever taking my own life. And those thoughts started to run through my head when I went and I just picked up her car. And I remember I came home and I swear I wanted to run the car off the road. I was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. I had those thoughts in my head. And I remember coming home. First thing I did, bottle of UV blue, just chugged straight from the bottle. And so I've been there when I see these movies. I didn't drink for a long time. And so I know sometimes people are like, well, how do you know you were an alcoholic? I'm like, look, I'm an addict, addictive personality. My dad was an alcoholic. It didn't take me long to realize I had a problem. Like you don't need to drink for 20 years to call yourself an alcoholic. I realized, and you said it last week, and I love what you said in the chat. You said, you'll never lose the title, your choice, but the choice is always yours. I believe you said something along those lines.
The
label will always be there
for life.
Yeah,
but being a user is a choice.
It's a choice. Exactly. Being a user is a choice. 100%. And that's why I always tell my friends, like, hey man, I know it's been 10 years since you have a drink. I'm like, you're still an alcoholic, man. That's still what the label is that. Like, and that's why you can't go back to it. And you were talking about earlier how like you'll be in tears talking to friends and or people just out of tough love, and it's like they don't get it, but it's because you care. And that's how I am with my friends. I'm like, look, if if I'm taking this much time to go out of my way to help you or because I want to see better, it's because I give a shit. It's because I care. It's because I don't want to see you die. I don't want to see you in the hospital because of this or dying because of this. You know what I mean? Or in a car accident or killing somebody on the road because you were drinking and driving or anything like that.
Yeah. I took way more risks and put myself in many a dangerous situations when I was drinking that I would never consider doing to myself now. I would never have 3 drinks and get in a car now. Now, and that's not to say that over the years I haven't had a few drinks here and there, because I have. But if I buy myself a bottle of whiskey and I take it home and I have a mixed drink out of it, the rest of that bottle of whiskey might sit there 3 years before I have the next mixed drink out of it. So would I say that I'm at risk of relapsing to that extent again? Probably not. I don't care about it that much anymore. But the potential is always there for me to get in a state of mind where I just say, fuck it. But that's because I've had that state of mind before, and because somebody who has dealt with things like depression and anxiety and, self-abuse, you have to monitor yourself. You have to hold yourself responsible for the not letting it get there, not being that. Because, I mean, do I miss drinking? No. Do I crave alcohol? Yes. Yes, I do. But that's all the more reason why I don't keep it in the house anymore. Uh, I haven't had a bottle in my house in 4 years, period. And the one that was there before was there for about a month. It was a gift. And when that person came back and seen that I hadn't opened it yet, they took it back. I said, okay, go ahead. No problem. Because there's no point in me doing it. There's no, why do I want to, I don't ever want to be in a position again where I hurt somebody out of where I think I'm being a comedian. And I don't ever want to hurt anybody out of being with malice in my heart. And I could see myself doing that either way with a few good drinks in me. It's not who I want to be, so I just won't be that person again. I refuse to ever let that happen again. It cost me too many good things in my life, and could have costed me even more. So,
right.
But no. But like I said, and I didn't have the same type of trauma. I had other traumas. There's no doubt about that. We all have traumas. But to lose your child, that's a hard one to come back from, especially when it's something like that where it's completely 100% out of your control. Like nothing they could have done as parents would have rectified that situation in any way. So they were just inflicted with that pain for the rest of their life. But it's how you proceed. It's not, it's not how you can't live in your past. If you do, you drown there. You have to proceed with life. Life does go on. And then, you see, like I said earlier, you think you know what his wife wants from him, but really what she wants from him is she wants him to just feel better, be better, not hurt the way he does. That's not what you get in the beginning because you don't really know. And for him to be there and her to come and sit with him and he said when he says to her, "I just want you to." I wrote that down. Let me not mess it up. Yeah, I got 2 pages worth of notes on this one. I hope one day you can see in me the man you'd always hoped I'd be. And that's truly all he really wants. He just wants to be for her who she wanted, you know. And he tells her, I failed you. I failed the mother of my son by not being there for her. So, and for that's a hard thing for a man to come to, is to admit
failing.
Admit failing.
Yeah, especially failing her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she went through it too.
You always want to be a hero and as a man and things like that. What I love, I got 2 things I want to say is doing these streams is even how much I love this movie and how many times I've seen it. I'm appreciating this movie, and it's very high up on my list. I believe number 2, but I appreciate, or not number 2, but it's up there. But I appreciate movies and talking about it because it makes me appreciate the movie even in a different light, hearing it from your side and hearing what you say, because I might see it differently. And so I love this movie, but even having this conversation is making me appreciate it even more. And that's why I love doing these. And it's not always going to change your opinion on a movie, but I love having conversations, especially like this. And these are the ones I like having. And it's why I recommend. You saw there's like no comedies on this list really. There's an action movie, just not, silly fun.
And if there was any comedy, it was in the way back.
Yeah,
or like the little quips, but
yeah, there's not like I don't. That's why I don't. It's not that I don't like comedy. I just don't recommend a lot of them because I just don't think it evokes the conversation that you can have like this. And some people aren't going to open up the way you and I do, but I think that they still create better conversations. And then the second thing I wanted to say is my dad, I think I told Mizzy this. My dad was telling me this because he saw the way back and he was telling me that scene where Ben Affleck breaks into the house accidentally, walks into the wrong house. My dad did that.
Yeah.
He told me when he was drinking in his 20s, he did that. So that scene was really relatable for my dad because that's happened to him where he accidentally went into the wrong house. And so,
well, she didn't tell him which house specifically. She said right over here.
Yeah, she said like 2 down from the whatever.
Yeah.
She's like, go around the back. Yeah.
And then he just goes in and got a gun on him, like, hello, get out of my house.
Yeah. I literally I don't do this too often on these streams. I always keep the screen like full screen so I could see the chat. And but I ended up just putting us full screen right there. So sometimes I could get lost in the conversation that way. But we got Sydney Eubanks saying The Way Back, good movie, 3.5 out of 5. Great, but heavy for sure. And Benicio, have you seen a Hammer film called The Devil Rides Out, Chris says?
No.
I haven't seen that one. Did you have anything else you wanted to say on this before we kind of get into the predictions and all that stuff?
No. I mean, there's a lot to this movie, and there's a whole lot of aspects with him working with the kids, so on and so forth. But it's his struggle is really the story. So we touched on most of that.
Conversations like this with this movie are reasons why I want to get back to my series of what it means to us, where you wouldn't know because this was a while back, but I used to do it. I did one for The Whale, we did one for It's a Wonderful Life, and we did one for The Menu. Right. And we just get a group of people, about 5 or 6 people, usually sometimes more, sometimes less. And we just talk about what the movie means to us. And it's conversations like this and movies like this that make me want to get back to doing that, where we can just talk, because we did The Menu for like 3 hours. We just got to do a deep conversation about it. And so like you're talking about, where you just talk about one movie for that long. And I'd love to get back into doing that and talk about movies like this, because there's a lot of movies out there where we can have 3-hour conversations with a group of people talking about what it means.
Right.
And that's what
because everybody sees it through different eyes and different experiences. So they,
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
my experiences with life are different than yours, but we have commonalities that make us both appreciate what this is.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, there's a lot of movies I have written down for it. I know Castaway was one of the ones I really wanted to do because that ending I could talk about for 6 hours.
Castaways,
I love Castaway.
phenomenal.
So, but let's go ahead. I already caught up with the chat. I'm going to take the screen off, the now discussing screen off here. And then I've got my list of what I thought yours would be. I was way off, and I'm happy I was off. But so I basically had your number 10 as Eastern Promises. I didn't know if it would work for you with, the Russian stuff. I just didn't know how
the gangster stuff don't bother me. I mean, that it wasn't even that. It was
slow too. I just didn't know how much it would get into it. Number 9, I had The Way Back.
Wow.
I didn't know if the Ben Affleck was your cup of tea. Oh man, so I was way off.
Ben Affleck is hit or miss for me depending on the subject matter of the movie, if I gotta say. But this one,
I'm happy I was off. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Number 8, Stuck in Love. Off again. 7, Unstoppable. 6, I had Brothers, so I was probably right there on that one. Number 5, I thought On the Waterfront. And then I got a little, number 4, The Guardian. And then 3 for Love of the Game, 2 Warrior, and 1 The Way Back. So I really thought The Way Back would be your one.
The Way Back was the one I told you a couple weeks ago that I'd said I'd already watched 3 times.
Okay.
I
was that movie, I was thinking it was that one because it's really easy rewatch value. It's not a tough watch. It's a pretty fun movie.
It's not super long, and it's
not boring.
It's click after hit, the whole movie long, There's something happening each minute.
Did you want to try and tell me what you thought for me? If you did that?
Well, I figured Warrior and The Way Back were probably close to your number 1. That's probably the only thing that I knew for sure. The other ones, I wouldn't have had a venture to guess where they were on a list of only 10 for you, because it seems to me like, I mean, obviously you gave me 2 Kevin Costner movies and they're both really good, but where those fell for you, I would have never been able to venture to guess. So no, I didn't rank them in how I thought you would, but I thought The Way Back and Warrior probably were very high on your list.
I had On the Waterfront as my number 10, like you. And Unstoppable was my number 9, which I think was your 8 or 9. Eastern Promises was my 8. So we might have had the same 10, 9, and 8.
Pretty close. Yeah. I mean, they were the same 3, but yeah.
And Brothers was my number 7. And then number 6 is The Way Back with Ben Affleck. But that's where my 5's, like, that's a 5-star movie to me. The Way Back is 5. That's number 5. Stuck in Love is number 4. The Guardians number 3, For Love of the Game number 2, and Warrior number 1. Warrior is one of my all-time favorites. Oh man, like before I ran a race, I ended up watching that movie to like get that. I needed to like, because it's a really inspirational movie too. The whole like how when he fights Coda.
Yeah.
And I love my dad's favorite scene. One of his favorite scenes in any movie is when Frank Grillo tells him, if you don't knock him out, you don't have a home.
Right.
He's like, my dad tells me after the movie, he goes, that's all it takes for a man to hear. You tell a man that who has a wife and 2 kids, you tell me if I don't knock him out, he goes, my dad tells me after the movies, he goes, you would see me fighting for my entire life if somebody told me that. When my wife and kids in my house are on the line, yeah, you're going to see me do everything I can to win that match. I love that scene too. You don't knock him out, you don't have a home. That's great. Oh man, I love these movies. I'm glad you really enjoyed them.
I really did.
Almost 4 hours in. How about that? Let's see here. What else do we got? We got. Okay, so we finished that up. Well, what would you rank the list?
The list, I would rank it at a 4.
A 4, nice. I'll take it. Tony did that too, but you gave 2 5s. I appreciate it. I'm glad you really enjoyed them. At least some of them, especially the 1 and 2. I'm glad something.
I won't say that any of them were bad movies. I mean, there wasn't a single bad one on there. I mean, again, on the waterfront, I've just seen better Brando.
And that's okay. Yeah, no, and
You know,
that was my swing at an older movie. Would you recommend this list? I assume you
sure.
would. Well, you rated it, and yeah, there we go. So we're done. We are all set, and I don't, not too much in the chat going on, so we're done for the night. There's 16 people still watching, almost 4 hours in. Obviously, Jeff is around. So I appreciate people. I always try to tell at the end, I always like to say, I appreciate everyone who watched, and then I always end up forgetting somebody, and so I feel like an asshole. But Anthony says this was a badass stream, and it's
Thanks.
comments like that, man. Honestly, like, I don't think I want people to understand how much comments like Anthony's right there meant to me or means to me. And I don't know, I'll just speak for myself, maybe my guest as well, but like I really appreciate comments like that. Like, especially when you hear like Anthony he just gave a compliment last week too, and stuff like that. It's just nice. It's just nice to hear when there's so much negativity in the world. It's really nice when somebody reaches out to you. Like Johnny recently said, I just watched The Sound of Metal, and I was like, okay, you're watching one of the movies that was I recommended to Tim, so it's fun. And he gave it 4.5 stars, and 4.5 for Johnny is really big.
Yeah,
so,
it's on my list too. I want to watch it.
Yeah, everyone go potty now. And Holland's Oates is always watching, of course, as well. Holland's 100%. So, no, but seriously, man, like Anthony, I appreciate it, and Nikki, I appreciate you coming on here. I always have the best conversations with you, genuinely. I mean, I do. I won't sugarcoat that, and I don't just say that. So if I say it, I mean it. Like, I really do, and that's why sometimes.
No, like I said, I got an arm length long list of cancer men in my life, and y'all say what you mean. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, that's everything. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. I'll let Nikki kind of talk about whatever she wants to say. She's starting up a new channel as well. She was talking about, so I'll let you talk about some of that stuff. If you want, I could put you full screen. If you just want to sit there, you can.
No, you don't have to do that. I don't know when I'm going to start it. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know. But, everybody's welcome to come and join me when I run my chops. I'm not giant on watching first run movies, just for the pure and simple fact that hype movies usually do me no good. If somebody's hyping it up, I'm not going to watch it or talk about it, because I just watch it in my own time. And this is, you said on the last list I gave you, all my movies were over 25 years old. Well, that's when I feel like the best of Hollywood was. So
that's fair.
I mean, I'm just not into thousands of remakes and this, that, and the other. There are some out there that are good. I mean, you got to give props where they're due, but I'm just big on the storytelling. So if I do anything with the channel, it's probably going to be more of, let's just have watch a couple of movies, get on, talk about it, and or whatever. But I'm not somebody that's going to go on hunts. You're never going to see haul videos, this, that, and the other. That's not something I'm interested in doing. So, but these kind of conversations, maybe.
Yeah,
so.
no, you're good at it. Like I said, you open up, you're really comfortable. It's easy to talk to you. So whoever you have on, they'll be comfortable around you. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah. But that's everything. Mizzy says thanks for the great discussions, Nikki and Bob, and opening up. That's what it's about. And you had me with getting misty eyed there a little bit tonight too. So I'll be honest, I love these conversations. Are what it's about for me. That's what I want to do on my channel. Hauls and hunts are fun, but there's more to it than that. So
I mean, and I love watching people do those, like, oh my gosh, especially like out of the theater reactions, like Huck's been doing a lot of those lately and stuff. That's great. I love that, but it's just not something that I'm going to take the time out of my life to do.
Right. Yeah. And I will sometimes watch stuff like that. I don't watch a ton of YouTube anymore, and it's not a personal thing. Some people take it personal. I don't have between the time, and I just don't have a huge passion for YouTube at the moment. And that's why I only do this. And maybe I'll get back into it. And there was a video that bearded film guy made, and Joe sent me, and I really appreciated that. And I felt like I needed it between Joe telling me that. It was really nice to hear that, because I felt like I needed that, because I get caught up in the negativity. And so I felt like there was a part of me that was missing because like, yeah, so like you need a healthy mix of the fun and streams and serious ones. And I agree.
Right.
And I felt like I had gotten away from watching some stuff that made me happy. And I stopped watching content. And so hearing that guy just be very positive and then mention my name and say something really nice about me was like, I needed that. I needed that in that moment. And it was really nice.
Yes, that kind of
great video that Chris did. Exactly. And
that kind of reminds me of like at the end of the way back. He's gone through all this crap and he's been, it's obviously they've been public about, their lives and whatnot, because it's what happens when your child dies. Everybody in the neighborhood knows it. But at the end, when the commentators are giving him his props for being a good coach to these kids, and it's, and he's listening to it on the radio, and it's that feeling that he had to have gotten from knowing that, he did something good for somebody. That's what I like about your guys' streams, like you and Corey and, whatever. You guys bring on people who you're interested in talking about. You don't care what other people think about it. You laugh, you have a good time, you joke, you have a bad time sometimes, but you're all free to continue to do what you're doing, and you bring more people out, you talk to more people, you get the conversation opened up wider. And that's that to me, the building of the friendships is more important than even what you guys are talking about, so.
And if I have the same person on, I have the same person on. Then don't watch if you don't like it. Like,
right.
I like streaming with people like Corey. Why? Because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
And he in the chat enjoys him. Why do I stream with Jeff a lot? Because Jeff's a fun person. Like, he's quiet, but you know what? He's nice. He's never been a single mean bone in his body to a single person. So when you have people like Jeff and Corey on and people like Tony, you know that you don't ever have to worry about drama or them saying something that is going to upset somebody. And me, on the other hand, I might.
Right. So, I mean, and like I said earlier, it's, if y'all don't want to hear what we're talking about,
yeah,
feel free to go watch somebody else. There's other people on.
But I'm glad
even if there's not lives on, there's plenty of videos on YouTube.
I'm glad Jeff saw the video. It was really nice, and I appreciate Joe sending me that. And I felt like I needed it in that moment. And Joe is somebody who's become an incredible friend. Like, he's always been a good friend, but lately he's like, we've been getting really close. And Joe's a good dude. So, Princeton's game nights are a great source of happy pills. That's one of the most comfy things that you do, Bob. Every time there's a game night, it's a great for myself joining the fun. And I'll get back to them. It's, just something I got to find that passion for again. And my thing is I never want to half-ass something. So if I don't have something good to do, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I just won't do something that I don't have the love for. I just can't do it. I can't.
I thought dodgeball was really fun, but you only did that once.
Yeah. That's why I wouldn't mind doing it again. It gets hectic and it's like, but I feel like once you do it once, people will know how it runs. But I want to do it again. And I would like to play every once in a while too, and I just got to get somebody to host it. So I got to get somebody out there who can host it. I could have Jeff do it. He's got the computer equipment to do it. He's done StreamYard. So, yeah. But anyways, that's everything for tonight. We're literally 4 hours in, so I figured I'll end it right here. But this is my longest stream on my channel, I believe, I've ever done. So I don't think I've ever done a 4-hour stream. So look at that.
Well, thank you very much. And
well, thank you. No, thank you.
Forward to doing the next one.
I appreciate it. Everyone, have a good night. We'll see you next time.
Good night.